Welcome back to What She Said Sports. It was a beautiful day. All right, lots to talk about. We're going to give some people a moment to catch up to us. I hope you enjoyed the intro. Alabama State University's Stingettes. Is It a Crime by Sade? So we started yesterday with the intro because it perfectly reflected the sentiment of a lot of people after the travesty that took place in the 2025 NFL draft where Shedeur Sanders, elite QB1, was concerned. So we all know what happened. We're on the same page. The debate about why it happened is starting to dwindle a little bit. Why? Because there's a lot of things taking place. One, Beyonce is on tour. So people's attentions are moving on to other things as we expected. Two, because Shedeur is in Cleveland and people are buying his jerseys. They're so excited to see him that they're like, you know what? Let's just cheer him on, to greatness in Cleveland. Now, I want to give a shout out first. That's what I want to start with. So, we're going to do that. We're going to put on some music. And we're going to vibe out and we're going to talk about some things. I want to say thank you to everybody who subscribed in the last 24 to 48 hours. Y'all showing me mad love and I appreciate it. I'm grateful. Shout out to, I guess, friends and family, the members of What She Said podcast. We do have memberships. Feel free to join as friends and family. If you're going to hang out with us all the time, it helps to elevate the channel to the next level. And believe me, we are going up. And I just want to say thank you for everybody that shared their thoughts, had positive, wonderful engagement and debates, but were respectful. And that's how we like to do it around here. It's going to be a debate. I'm probably going to facilitate it. So don't get in your feelings, but don't be afraid to share because opinions are respected. But we do have moderators. So if you are rude, you will be blocked. So welcome, 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 welcome. All right, so we're going to get into congratulations to the Colorado Buffs for the elite wide receiver core is in the NFL. Shedeur Sanders has in the NFL his entire starting 4 elite wide receiver core in the NFL. Jimmy Horn Jr., Travis Hunter, LaJohntay Wester, and Will Shepherd. And everybody pointed out that is the most wide receivers drafted from any college or university who had players as draft prospects. Not a bad way to go for Colorado. Shout out to Coach Prime, Shedeur Sanders, for being such a hellified QB that he made all of his receivers look good. You can't ask for more than that. And for the CU program, I do believe there are 10 Buffs with the NFL. 11. Shane Coates will be in Denver, I guess doing like what they call a camp. He has a camp invite. And then Mark Bassett, the punter, don't know if y'all remember Mark, he is Australian. Mark is headed to the Canadian Football League. And I think that that's great because what did I say yesterday? The NFL is not the final answer. It's not the only option. And after this draft, it should be obvious that it should not be the only option. I guess you can say I compared the NFL to, I already said it was a tug of war. But now I'm starting to see after the draft, because they exposed themselves. I don't know whether y'all know it or not. They exposed themselves. We're going to take a look today at some of the comments that were on the record about Shedeur. I analyzed them, highlighted them in different colors last night. So we getting ready to dissect some of the comments about Shedeur, which aided him being forced down to the 5th round. When you have all 4 of your elite wide receivers in the league, I don't care how they got there, but they're now there. You are one damn good quarterback, and it further solidifies that Shedeur Sanders is him, and he did not deserve to be publicly humiliated this way. It also highlights and confirms that this was an orchestrated plot to do so. I got news for y'all. Shedeur Sanders was not supposed to get drafted at all. He was going to go as an undrafted free agent. Boomer Esiason confirmed it for you when he told y'all that NFL owners say take his name off the board. So if his name is off the board, he's not getting drafted. He was supposed to be an undrafted free agent. And much like they did in the draft process, they were going to exploit him for views, all the while knowing they were going to make him earn it. So what made these people believe that Shedeur wasn't interested in earning his way into the NFL? So we're going to listen to the call from the ill-advised general manager of the Cleveland Browns, Andrew Berry, and what he said to Shedeur. And I want you to listen to, when we get to that point, I want you to listen to what he's telling him as he's being drafted. Now, mind you, there are other draft calls out there that I will be listening to see if the message is the same. I'm cool with it. But there was something he said that made people go, why would you say something like that? Why wouldn't you just congratulate him? We happy to have you, make him feel valued like Jacksonville did Travis, like other teams did their draft prospects. So they still with the BS. That's what I'm getting at. And that takes me to Pac-Man Jones. Pac-Man Jones has his own podcast. Shout out to him. It's actually pretty good. He said his sources are telling him that Jacksonville is looking to ship off Trevor Lawrence, the failed experiment for QB1 there in Jacksonville. Those are my words. And that they just want anybody to take him. I mean, anybody. So it's like Trevor Lawrence is in a fire sale. He's the fire sale. You know what a fire sale is. Everything must go. He got to go. And it don't matter how much you want to take him for. We just got to get rid of him. People are now speculating, could what should have happened in the draft? There were many people urging Jacksonville, take Shedeur, take Shedeur, take Shedeur. As good of a QB as Shedeur did, for 32 teams to pass him up 5.5 times, points to collusion. What also points to collusion? The comments we're going to look at that they said about him. This kid scares these people. They feel threatened by him. We talked about it here last night. They feel threatened by him. I know a lot of people who work in corporate America, they probably have seen something like this before. You get a new job, everybody's scared of somebody in particular because, you know, they think this person is going to take somebody else's job or cause them to lose their job or expose them for being lazy at work or not being qualified. You would think Shedeur was the owner of the son of whoever owns the NFL. Not the teams, but the league itself. They are scared of this young man. But that's not why they did him in. I'm going to stand on what I said. This was about protecting the feelings and the positions and the highest pay for lesser talented non-black quarterbacks, meaning white quarterbacks. I stand on it because this was the year Shedeur Sanders, Jalen Milroe, and Cam Ward pushed the majority forward to a path that's not anything that's easy to turn back from. So, let's get into the first video of Shedeur in Cleveland. Let's get into that first. All right. So it's just a snippet. Shedeur Sanders shared it on his page. He makes it to Cleveland. These are the facilities. He's with somebody. I'm sure it's family or trainer or social media team. It didn't give that it was Bucky. It could be Florida. Who's his trainer? Not an entourage. People that are necessary to his business. He's a brand. Something that Joy Taylor pointed out. These college kids are coming out, going into the NFL draft with millions of dollars in their pockets. They are brands, walking brands. So yeah, they want to come to the NFL expecting to be drafted by a team that is competent. And I thought about how Coach Prime preaches greatness at CU. Imagine being at CU and you are part of Coach Prime's program and he's developing you for the league and he's telling you got to work hard every day. You got to be on point. You can't be a slacker. You want to expect greatness. You want to believe in yourself. And then when you get to the NFL, they want to break you down. They're lazy, incompetent, not qualified. They don't care about winning. You feel deflated. So it's like the league is behind in the times and colleges are up. People talked about Arch Manning at UT. I heard, what's his name over Colin over at Life in Football. I Googled it for myself and it seems to be true. Arch Manning probably not coming out of college next year and going to the NFL like they hoped. Why? Because the NIL bag is better than the NFL. And all you have to do is go to colleges and the college football teams are run more professionally than too many of the NFL teams. Two franchises in particular. The Giants and the Browns are supposed to be consistently in shambles. Now we know how the Giants fumbled Saquon Barkley. Cleveland, people are watching Cleveland like a hawk to make sure they don't mismanage Shedeur Sanders. And then there's Tennessee, who's quietly hiding in Nashville. They look classy, but we don't know what they got going on. But we're going to keep an eye on them too. But people expect good things from Tennessee. Just maybe the quarterback wasn't a good selection. But who picked the quarterback? So that person is gone. They have somebody new. So I guess we have to have somewhat of an open mind. But there's still an NFL franchise that likely colluded to publicly humiliate Shedeur Sanders. So we can't forget about that. Because why? It's not just about Shedeur Sanders. Coach Prime posted, let it go, let it go, let it go. And I said back respectfully, y'all can let it go. But for you to think we should let it go means you think this was just about Shedeur. And I know you got to know better. So fans are not letting it go. We didn't like what we saw. There were fans, they just want to win. And the Saints probably got the worst grade of the NFL draft. People are roasting them. I have said they are forever the Aints because they do not make good decisions to put themselves to win. I'm starting to think they lucked up on Drew Brees. That they care more about politics, racial politics, than they do about winning. And fans are sick of it. NFL tickets are not cheap. So, Shedeur's in Cleveland now. So in some respects, everybody's just waiting with bated breath because we want to see him. My questions, are they going to give him a fair shake? It's not about will they let him start, because I guess he has to compete for his job because there's what, 4 other quarterbacks. 5 in total. It's 5 of them, 5 QBs in total. Deshaun Watson is out. So there's Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, who was sent there from Philadelphia. I have no idea why. After the Super Bowl, they just ripped him away from a Super Bowl winning team. And then suddenly, Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Now, honestly, if you listen to the consensus of fans, it's going to be Joe Flacco and Shedeur Sanders. Nobody expects Dylan Gabriel to beat Shedeur out of any contest. It was said when Dylan, no disrespect to him, was a Heisman candidate on the stage with Travis and Ashton Genty. that he was there to block Shedeur because he had better numbers, and the Heisman committee was trying to snub him. Shedeur has been snubbed so many times since we fans have followed them to the Power Five. It is ridiculous. And now in the NFL, it's like the NFL wants to orchestrate the media to refrain from interviewing Shedeur and focus on some other people. Fans gonna focus on who they want to focus on. And there's no more proof than jersey sales. So let's talk about the jerseys that have flown, I guess you could say, off the UPS trucks. All right, so top 10 players in the draft. Shedeur Sanders was not one of them, okay? Shedeur was not a top 10 draft pick, but he is the top 3 when it comes to jersey sales. This is how you know this where he should have been drafted, whether it be the number 2 spot or the number 3 spot. No brainer, Travis Hunter is at the top. No brainer, Cam Ward is at the top. And it's no brainer that Shedeur Sanders at the top. This is embarrassing for the NFL. Dwight Taylor pointed out, she said, you know, quarterback evaluations are so subjective that y'all don't even know what y'all talking about. She said there are so many factors that go into quarterback evaluations. Do they play in a hot climate, a snow climate? Can they play in the rain? Is the O-line good? Is the defense good? Is the O-line coach good? Is the quarterback coach good? Was he properly developed? That's something that happened with Jalen Milroe. After he was on the way out of Alabama, they demoted their offensive coordinator because he wasn't good. And people said he should even have a job, but they keep hiring him. So it lets you know that although they use the term professional when it comes to some of these leagues in the NFL, some of these people have jobs because of who they know. Let's be honest, they're not qualified. And because the teams are making money from media rights deals to the tune of $250 win or lose, they hire their buddies. There's no explanation for why the GM in New York was not fired or replaced or demoted or something after Saquon Barkley was fumbled. There is none. In any normal company, he would have been out. Just like the defensive coordinator for Atlanta that breached the data that people are saying, oh, those kids prank called multiple people. I said, oh, so you have a widespread data breach. Well, how did you handle that? Are you going to compensate these young men? But nobody else was being humiliated, and that young man was considered to have inside information. So the trolling looks different when it comes to Shedeur because his father played for the Falcons. And if there's an orchestrated attempt to embarrass Shedeur, why wouldn't the Falcons be on it? It's not a stretch to believe that the Falcons organization or somebody in the organization would be in on it. Everybody knows the kid heard something. That's why he thought it was okay to impersonate that GM from the Saints, because he heard them talking. He heard what they were going to do. He's just immature and decided to get in on the fun. And I have no idea why this kid would think, this young man, this 21-year-old would even think that he wouldn't get his father in trouble, because the frontal lobe is not fully developed until they're 25. I talked about it. The region of the brain when it comes to consequences and good judgment is not fully developed till 25. So you can excuse his behavior if you want to, but you're going to need to give Shedeur Sanders the benefit of the doubt as well. And that's what they didn't do. And it was intentional. So congratulations to the guys on here who are selling jerseys. I commented Shedeur Sanders jersey would honestly probably be 1 or 2, but there are so many fans that are so disgusted by the humiliation that was orchestrated against him that we don't want to touch anything that they have to sell. So in one of my previous videos, if you check the comments, and I might get back to it here after the video, there's a link to merch for Shedeur Sanders. It's made by different creators. They have a lot. They even have a mug that says slide like Shedeur. I might get it because y'all know I generally have a cup right here. And I was like, I don't know if this is an insult or not, but it was cute. It was cute because Shedeur slid, but guess what? He landed on his feet. And now the media is following him around, Cleveland social media is through the roof. His jersey is number 3 in sales, even though half the people are probably boycotting, or a third of the people are boycotting his jersey, still number 3 at the top. People believe they are supporting Shedeur. I'm like, no, we know where the money goes. But if that's what they want to do, I'm not going to stop them because it looks good that Shedeur's jersey is at number 3. So I don't have any judgment. If y'all want to buy his jersey, you go right ahead. But my merch is coming from this link at a popular site where creators sell their wares, and they have some really good stuff. Really good. Very good prices, by the way. So if you look in the video, I think from yesterday, overnight, it's in the comments. All right, so we talked about congratulations to the CU Buffs that made it where they've gone. The elite wide receiver core is there. One of the things Shedeur got robbed of that I kind of don't like, but it might end up working out later on. And when you're a QB or a star like Travis, I wondered if Cameron Silver-Craig ended up in Jacksonville because of Travis. No coincidence these two lined up across from each other. Just like Restrepo from Miami, wide receiver, to Cam Ward ended up in Tennessee. I think y'all all know who was going to end up with Shedeur wherever he went. Right? You're probably right about that. So that opportunity was lost right now. But if they give him a fair shake in Cleveland, or if Pac-Man Jones is on to something and he ends up in Jacksonville with Travis, he might get that opportunity back. But right now, the NFL is trying to distance itself from collusion. People, the media that they typically own, because one thing about the NFL, they control old guard media, these big box networks, these publications that have been around forever, but they don't control social media. Even with their own platform that people constantly go at them on. It's so many content creators and the general public talking about this on all platforms that are out here that is drowning out the talking heads. And that's what needs to keep happening. So y'all keep it up. Keep it up. Because they can't stop the fans that they should care about, whose opinion they should care about, from holding them accountable. Because see, that's what the regular media, the old guard media, refuses to do. I heard somebody who's super popular, and we all used to watch, Jamel Hill. Her caption said Shedeur's slide was not about race. Anybody that says that knows as late as 2022, the NFL was fighting, paying Black retired players because they believed they had lower cognitive functioning. Even after in 2021, they said they was going to stop using that policy. They fought the payments. They fought paying the people out even after they say, we're going to stop using the policy and we're going to come up with something else that maybe the medical community will want to use. So you came up with race norming. That's your madness. And then even when you get slapped on the wrist and you get caught, you still don't want to pay the people. So you had to go back to another round of negotiations to be slapped on the wrist again in 2022. It is 2025. So if anybody says this is not about race, they are likely adjacent to the NFL in some way, and they want to feel comfortable at the Super Bowl. That's why they're saying it. But everybody else that's not associated with the NFL is telling the truth. So keep listening to the people that are telling the truth. Unsubscribe and don't follow the other people, because you can't trust people that sail people up the river that look like them because they want to be comfortable at the Super Bowl. They want to get a media badge to the Super Bowl. That's why most of them. Chris Carter ought to be ashamed of himself. But you know, I thought about something. I didn't listen to what he had to say. I could guess. After listening to Shannon Sharp, Stephen A. Smith, even Joy Taylor, who was like, y'all are wrong about this QB evaluation. She even said, but I can't get to conspiracy. Conspiracy and collusion are used in the same context. And when you look at what it is, a secret meeting to do something to harm someone, how can she not get there? Because she wants to keep her job. People were going at her because she was talking about how people get their jobs in the NFL. And they were like, we know you're not talking about nobody on how they got their job, because y'all know how those allegations came out. and she still has her job. See, the NFL don't want to be accountable, and now the media doesn't even want to hold its own people and itself accountable. That's what we're dealing with. People just eroding values. One of the things she did say is that when these kids want to come out of college and they have all of this money, they want to go to a competent team. She said, God forbid if somebody tries to hold these organizations accountable. And that's where we are. They were afraid of Shedeur Sanders because he's an elite QB. He's not going to sit there and let you ruin his career. People say Daniel Jones is actually a good quarterback. Well, he stayed in New York how long? Through how many contracts? And allowed these people to make him look like an imbecile. And then they just sent him somewhere else. And then they sent him somewhere else and gave him $14 million so he could prove himself behind Anthony Richardson, who they're saying should have stayed in college. So Daniel Jones get all of the protection. Stay with the pattern now. Daniel Jones gets all of the protection despite proving that he is ineffective at the quarterback position. But Anthony Richardson should have stayed in school, and now he got to compete for his job that he just got last year. But Daniel Jones been in the league since, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. If you know what draft class he was, feel free to drop the year in the chat. But it's been a minute. I know it was the same draft as Haskins that unfortunately passed away. Whatever draft that was, and that young man Sterling Sharp, I remember that too. Could be 2017, could be 18. I don't know. But the point is, it's past time to stop babying people that aren't good because you have a preference. You believe Black athletes have a lower cognitive functioning, which we know is ridiculous. And that brings me to them calling Shedeur entitled. Do y'all know what entitled means? Let's talk about that. I'm gonna say hi to y'all. All right, so here's what it means to be entitled. And I want you to keep in mind that that is the one comment that they have made about Shedeur over and over and over, okay? Being entitled is believing oneself to be inherently deserving of privileges or special treatment, okay? So that should make sense to you when you hear them say, we want you to come in here and earn it, okay? First of all, to say somebody's entitled is subjective, meaning that's your opinion. It's not based on any facts, and your opinion could be prejudicial or biased, and that's what we are. To say that Shedeur expects special treatment, I'm gonna need you to have some evidence that he asked you for special treatment, or you have him on video expecting special treatment. Because when he said at the combine that y'all claim is the reason why y'all didn't want to draft him way back then, but you chose to try to exploit it for views, when he said he wants to go to an organization that wants to win and change the culture, y'all got in y'all feelings. And y'all ganged up on him. And you decided right then and there, whatever the dates of the combine were, February 27th, March 27th, somewhere in there. You decided then you were not going to draft him. So here's what you did. You colluded. Y'all had a secret meeting to humiliate him, AKA harm him. But instead of telling him at the combine, you know what, we don't want people who have attitudes like that. So thank you, but no thank you. You could have easily dismissed him, but you decided to exploit him for views. That's exactly what you did. You like, we're not drafting him. We're going to make him an undrafted free agent, and we're going to keep him in the draft because he's popular. Yeah, we know he can make us money, but guess what? It's not his attitude. It's the fact that this is the year that he will become a starter in my league and change the tide to majority Black QBs. I don't want that anyway. So while we at it, let's just make him an undrafted free agent, because they knew they couldn't kick him out. People would ask, why on the earth would you kick Shedeur Sanders out after the combine and tell him you don't want his services. And if they would have said, because he said he wants to go to a winning organization, the first person that would have popped up in everybody's minds is Eli Manning. And right then and there, it would have been a problem. People would have knew that they were covering for something else and something else was going on, because that doesn't make any sense. There are players, people said Aaron Hernandez was on trial for murder and was drafted in the 4th round. We talked about Johnny Manziel being in the 1st round after his admission of liking to play in the snow or play with the snow. So it would have not been justifiable to kick him out because he said that, because others have concerns about organizations that are incompetent. So why is it the NFL doesn't want to be held accountable? Why does it think it is above reproach? Because up until 2021 and 2022, they have gotten away with race norming. They've gotten away with it. They have gotten away with it. If nobody pulled your chain on something from the days, in the era of slavery, then you think you could get away with anything. And because there's so many Black people adjacent to the NFL or within the NFL who condone this by blaming Shedeur Sanders and Coach Prime, they feel like they're above reproach because they've already been found guilty of collusion, but because they didn't have to pay damages to Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, and Lamar Jackson, they feel like they're above reproach. And because they colluded and smeared Lamar Jackson's character because he didn't want to switch to wide receiver, and they humiliated him by dropping him to number 32 in the draft. They got away with that. And then now when he became a free agent, they made him negotiate for 2 years to get money that they happily gave to Josh Allen. They gave Josh Allen $330 million. Lamar Jackson is a 2-time MVP. In his 3rd MVP from last year was stolen from him. He was also robbed and given to Josh Allen so they could justify giving Josh Allen $330 million, because there is no way you can justify and people not see what you really got going on if you pay the number 2 quarterback $330 million and you just only hand the MVP at number 1 the trophy, and he only gets $250 million. Everybody would obviously see that it's racism, and that's what they don't want to be called out for. Racism is expensive, and it's gonna get expensive, because if Cleveland think they're gonna play with Shedeur, well, not only did he get drafted, and they were not going to draft him at all, and I'm sure there are conversations. I don't know what Boomer Esiason was thinking when he sat down with his chest out and said, yeah, the owners got together and said, take him off our draft boards, which meant at some point at the beginning of the draft or at the middle of the draft, they said, we are not drafting him. Why they didn't call him and tell him, we need you to go ahead on and turn in whatever we gave you because we're not going to draft you. That's all they had to do. But they wanted to exploit him for views. So they want to use it. You see how that works? And in the process of them using him, they got exposed. Because understand, that prank call and Donald Trump's text message or that tweet was pressure. They already listened to Donald Trump when he came to the Super Bowl and told them to take in racism off the end zones. So when he spoke out against them, they got scared. Don't think Nike, Gatorade, Beats, and everybody else that Shedeur represents and that represents Shedeur, that have invested in Shedeur because they know he's top elite talent. Don't think they didn't have something to say. And that prank call from an insider, that was an insider prank call. See, people want to say, oh, they pranked other people. Was anybody else being humiliated? Was anybody else pranked by an insider on video at the time, the team that was supposed to draft him? No. That's why they drafted him. They forced Cleveland to do it. So that's why Cleveland did this. Listen, I want y'all to listen. So what you're getting ready to listen to is a call from the general manager of the Cleveland Browns to Shedeur Sanders, essentially telling him, keep in mind what entitled means, thinking somebody owe you something. Listen to what he's saying, which lets you know they've been talking.
Good to see you, man.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to see you.
Remember I told you the Lord works in mysterious ways, right?
No, for sure.
It's an opportunity. We're going to get to work together, okay, buddy?
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
Shedeur, can you hear me, man?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, I know it's been a long weekend. We're going to take you off the board here, all right, brother?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Hey, listen, you got to come in, you got to work hard, you got to earn your job, earn your keep. And it doesn't matter where you're taking, it matters what you do from this point forward, all right? Talented, I spent a lot of time with you, you're a good kid. Let's get ready to go to work and improve all we're passing well, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, I got Coach here right now. Yo.
What's up, Coach?
Good to see you, man.
Yes, sir. I'm excited to see you.
Remember I told you the Lord works in mysterious ways, right?
No, for sure.
It's an opportunity. We're going to get to work together, okay, buddy?
Beautiful.
All right. So did you hear what he said? You got to come in, earn your keep. I didn't promise, nothing's promised. You got to come in and earn your keep. That goes back to the entitled speech. Nobody is giving you anything. What did Shedeur say to these people to make them think that he wanted them to bend the rules for him? Do they have evidence that he asked for special treatment? See, you can't say somebody's entitled and you have no evidence of it, because it means it's subjective and that's your opinion. And this is what is supposedly the narrative that they like to use the word, the narrative that they spin around. But I'm gonna tell you something. That's not a narrative. That's defamation. They want to use the word collusion in place of racism. They want to use the word narrative in place of defamation. Nick Saban said somebody, one person, somebody. They didn't say a group of people. They said somebody ran around and told teams something about him, and they band together against him. Now, that's what Nick Saban said, right? Mike Tomlin said as they were getting ready to make their pick, after the Saints had already picked, they were getting ready to make their pick at number 21. There were these phone calls, and we had to listen to these phone calls, right? So it's true. Somebody, the famed Shedeur, tarnished his character as teams were getting ready to select him, and they backed off of him. But Boomer Esiason said what? See, Boomer Esiason said something that's almost kind of not in alignment with that. He said that the owner said, let's take this entitled whoever off the boards. So was it the phone calls that one person was running around smearing Shedeur like they did Lamar Jackson? Because this exactly happened to Lamar Jackson. Or was it the owners had already decided in their minds that he was entitled? So which lie is it? Which lie is it? Because they both are lies. I'm telling you, they both lies. You're not going to tell me that 298 executives, people who are paid to think and be strategic, listen to one idiot running around trying to convince them not to draft one person. But then Boomer Esiason thinks he's helping out the league by saying that the owners band together and decided to take this entitled person off the board. When did he get entitled? At the combine? So he shouldn't have been a part of your process going forward, but you want to use it for views. And you got exposed instead. See, that would happen when you greedy. You bit off more than you could chew. Whether you believe in God or not, this young man told you he was a child of God. Everything y'all threw at him, Oh, he's going to the Giants. Oh, he's dropping to the 9th pick. Oh, he's dropping to the 21st pick. He didn't care. He even said it. It doesn't matter to me where I go, but he was still entitled. He didn't go to Green Bay. Is that when he was entitled? Because right before the draft, he was damn near the 2nd pick. He's top 3 in jerseys. So he was either going to the 2nd team or the 3rd one. We know he wasn't going to the Giants. Everybody knows he was never, ever going to the Giants. So if he was never, ever going to the Giants, why is it that right here on this screen is a statement from an assistant coach, and there are statements from the head coach of the New York Giants, who were never going to draft Shedeur, saying that he has an entourage and that he's entitled? See, they knew the word entourage didn't make sense to keep repeating, because all athletes have family and social media with them and bodyguards now, especially the wealthy ones. Skip said the NFL didn't want the flashy cars and gold chains. I bet if I go to a parking lot of a practice facility, it's a lot of fancy cars in there. And I bet sitting at the top of that money list is the quarterback. So that's BS-ery. That's BS-ery. So what is it? And when did he become entitled? These are all questions that need to be answered, because this looks like discrimination. It looks like racial discrimination. He can't do what Eli Manning did, want to go to a good organization. Eli Manning did the exact same thing, and it did not negatively affect his draft stock. Shedeur Sanders, it negatively affected his draft stock down to the 5th round. If you thought he was entitled, why you didn't pull him to the side because you want his talent and say, hey, buddy, I know your dad played in the league, but we don't want you asking for favors. There's nothing, no proof that Shedeur asked for any special treatment. That is subjective. That is what you say when you want to harm someone. And when you get behind closed doors and y'all make the decision to say something subjective about somebody and you cost him $50 million, that's collusion. Because you intended to harm him by saying he was entitled with no proof. Now, I don't expect Shedeur or Coach Prime to do anything about this. I expect them to move on and forgive these people because they godlike, but we're going to be right here. Because I don't think anybody's going to let this go. We are talking $50 million. The moment his contract is made public, and ESPN already shared it, supposedly he's getting a $466,000 signing bonus with maybe a $4 or $5 million contract that's not guaranteed. Shedeur don't care about the money, just like he didn't care where he went. Skip Bayless blamed Tom Brady, saying you could have did something about the slide. You know who else could have did something about the slide? Mike Tomlin, Andrew Berry, the New Orleans Saints. But they all were in on it. Boomer Esiason was honest because he was bragging. He was bragging when he said, yeah, the owner say take that entitled player. I wonder if that's what he really said. He's entitled. Take him off our board. Where's the conversation? Because I would love to hear it. Take that entitled what off your board? Where's the evidence that he was entitled? They need to write this young man a check for $50 million. It's going to get ugly if not. Just because the media can sit up and repeat what the NFL says, or on behalf of the NFL, say it's not racism, you can't make me unsee what I saw. And your justifications are being challenged because fans are pointing out Eli Manning. Fans pointed out Coach Prime did it. Bo Jackson did it. What are you trying to do here? I pointed out this is the year that the black quarterbacks were going to be the starting majority. The black quarterbacks were going to start as the majority in the league. Shedeur Sanders was definitely a part of that. People said, oh, you got Cam Ward, and I'm supposed to have Shedeur Sanders. But now it sits at 16. 32 divided by 16. There's no coincidence it didn't tip to the majority like it was supposed to. It's not a coincidence that two black elite quarterbacks who were in the top 3 or 4 were pushed down to the 4th and 5th rounds, and two white, lesser talented QBs were elevated. Mediocrity was the rule of the day, which is exactly what Trump came in and talked about. Essentially, Trump called them stupid because why? So basically, Trump was like, so you mean to tell me you gonna pass up billions of dollars in revenue because this kid gonna bring it? And y'all know Trump is about the money. You gonna pass up billions of dollars of revenue for two unknown quarterbacks who not even good? Are you stupid? He has phenomenal genes. Now, when he said the phenomenal genes part, it stuck with me, but I'm not gonna worry about it. Not right now. Essentially, he was saying he's a winner. Essentially, he was saying this is not somebody you can pass on. It was said on somebody's newscast in some random city, the most popular player in the NFL draft went in the 5th round. The most popular and most talented quarterback in the NFL draft went in the 5th round and is now responsible for top 3 jersey sales. That is a black eye to the league. That is what Joy was talking about when she said, if this kid balls out, y'all gonna have a problem. I'm like, no, they're not. They did the exact same thing to Lamar Jackson, and none of these people who are adjacent to the media who want to be comfortable at the Super Bowl will make the comparison. Some people finally started talking about Eli Manning. It finally started to get somewhere, but not at the major platforms. So it's going to take more time for social media to get it where it needs to get. But then that's where God comes in at. Top 3 jersey sales, and you went number 144. People are now posting videos of Colorado's football games where they had Kevin Durant there and all these celebrities saying, I bet Cleveland looked at this. Cleveland didn't want Shedeur. Andrew Berry's contract expires in 2026. If he don't have an extension, they thinking about it. Well, maybe we don't know if we want to do this. See, Andrew Berry and Mike Tomlin missed an opportunity to do and be courageous like Isaac Newsom. See, Isaac Newsom knew what was going on with Lamar Jackson. Everybody did. Coach Prime likely did too, because he was the one that interviewed Lamar Jackson. Everybody knew Lamar Jackson had to endure a smear campaign. But guess what? Come to find out, he's not the only one. CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud had to take a mental aptitude test with a bunch of other players. Now, I didn't hear anybody say Shedeur failed his. Did he take one? Because supposedly it was mandatory at the time. CJ Stroud was just, the class of maybe 2023, maybe? Yeah. So they all had to take a mental aptitude test. Now, I told y'all they did this to Lamar Jackson when he came in, but it was called the Wonderlic test. Well, they did away with that. They did away with the Wonderlic test, but they still have a few other mental aptitude tests. So CJ Stroud took it. And apparently possibly his scores were not as great as maybe they thought they should have been. Again, which is subjective. He clearly didn't fail it. So you know what they did with his test scores? The same thing they did with Lamar Jackson. Send it to everybody and shared it like, it was a viral video. So in the 2024 draft, his agency that were representing the next class, see how they like to humiliate the players? And he was a quarterback. See, that's what I'm saying. There's a pattern here. A law firm with 10 people or 2 people or Ben Crump can make a case. And when I saw Ben Crump post about this scenario, it could happen. The way Cleveland probably handles this, or depending on what information is revealed about the collusion that took place, it could happen. And when he posted about it, I said, okay. Because normally when he posts about something, the next thing you know, they in the news because he's representing them. And it's needed. To be honest, every black quarterback could file a class action lawsuit for $1 billion and win. Going all the way back to before Michael Vick. Evolution of a black quarterback pointed out what they had to go through. RG3, Robert Griffin III, endured racism right there with the Washington, at the time, Redskins. I never forget watching the draft that Daniel Jones was selected over Daniel Haskins, and everybody was upset just like the Saints organization, the Saints fans are not happy. They are so tired of this. We are so tired of this. We just want to win. So they're talking about it incessantly, as they should. Shedeur's fans are riding with him. He got new fans. People saying, I didn't like your dad, but I'm following you. I didn't like Colorado, but I'm following you. Trying to tear him and his dad apart by saying his dad is the problem. You know what that's like? That's like on the slave auction block. They rip the families apart. It was the same thing. I don't care whether they think they know what they're doing or not. That's what their mentality is rooted in. Disparaging Black fathers. There's some posts going out here talking about Anthony Edwards being like one of the best people out here. I'm like, the things that y'all fixate on. I don't even give stuff like that no credence. I keep scrolling and try to hit not interested because I don't want to see stuff like that in my feed because it's designed to make people who don't have any guidance buy into it. Somebody posted the 7 Black people that are holding Black people back. First and foremost, Black people made it past 400 years of slavery, couldn't read, with Black women emerging as the most educated demographic in the United States. So nobody's holding back Black people. What his caption should have read is the 7 people that the white media has chosen to fit the stereotype of Black people. That's a more accurate headline. Nobody's going to hold Shedeur back. It's okay for Shedeur to go on. We want Shedeur to go on, but we can't let this go. People say, so y'all just going to let go to 50 million? I know how Coach Prime and them think. God will provide. He will. And that's what we're here for. It says it somewhere in the Bible. I'm not a student of the Bible, but I've read it myself. If God sent you to do something and you don't do it, he got 7,000 more to get it done. That's where we come in. We part of that 7,000 army. So make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. And turn on your notifications because I have every show from now until Saturday night planned. So make sure you stay tuned. All right, let me see who these comments before I go on because I'm waiting for... All right. I had to try to wait for something to reload, but all right. So let's see what people are saying in the comments. Check out Too Legendary episode 33 where Shedeur talks about his combine experience prior to draft on YouTube. Yep, I actually think I have the video of it. I don't know if I uploaded it, but I did get the video of it where he talked about his process. He said he didn't have any crazy questions or anything. So again, where did the entitled come from? It came from the New York Giants head coach, Brian Daboll. He went on the record saying Shedeur was entitled and that he acted like he didn't care if we liked him. I said, what? How do you know if he didn't care or not? Again, something purely subjective. Now, remember, the Giants were never going to select Shedeur Sanders. They were never going to draft him. So why did they feel the need to disparage him? I'll tell you why. Because they have some people in the Giants organizations whose jobs are on the line if they don't produce. And if I know for a fact I don't want to draft a Black starting quarterback because I never have and I'm not getting ready to change history and let Shedeur Sanders go running through Manhattan on a parade, I have to disparage him and make people think he's the problem so that if we pick somebody else that we want that is not as qualified and doesn't work out, my job might be safe when I say, well, y'all know we couldn't pick Shedeur because he was a problem. Coach Prime was going to come with it. Or is Coach Brian Daboll afraid that Coach Prime going to end up with his job? Now, we already said Coach Prime is a lock at CU. So that clearly couldn't be it. But were they doing CYA covering their rumps? You absolutely. Why? Because they were never going to pick Shedeur. They were picking because Jackson Dart was white. They were trying to save room just in case the next generation of Manning come out next year, which is why they picked Abdul Carter first. They were never going to pick Shedeur. And you surely weren't picking Shedeur in the second round because we all know he's QB1, which is why Cleveland is perplexed. What the hell are we going to do now that y'all done forced us to take him? Because now we got Joe Flacco here. Yeah, you do. You also have Deshaun Watson. Did you have to take him too? Because I think you did. It explains that fully guaranteed contract. That makes absolutely no sense after the way y'all humiliated him in Texas. Then you have Kenny Pickett. That makes absolutely no sense. And I know I saw a post from that Shafter person, insider on the NFL way before the draft, saying that the Browns draft strategy was approved. I would love for this situation to become a congressional hearing with Jasmine Crockett asking the questions, or Ben Crump, because I know a law firm is going to ask what was the approved strategy, because I'm going to need to see it. How did y'all end up with Shedeur? Because y'all was never going to take him either. So what happened? What made you change your mind? Andrew Berry gave the response that, oh, the money, this, that, and the other, he was cheaper. Basically, that's what he was saying. So y'all pushed him down so he could be cheaper and you could get a better price. That is also collusion. In the scale in economics and business, when it comes to rules, that is collusion. Price fixing of lowering the price to change the bid. That is also collusion. This situation with Shedeur just pulled back the curtain to the point where it's not going to be easy to close it. We can move on and start talking about Shedeur being QB1, but this will linger over the NFL because it involves racism, collusion, and more collusion. And then it dredges up all the collusion against Lamar Jackson. And then it dredges up the situation with Russ in Denver because he was part of the collusion case along with Lamar, Russ, and Kyler Murray. So now I want to go back to that. It dredges up everything. It dredges up why Jalen Hurts was being smeared with his whiteboard assessment, just like Shedeur Sanders was. Why does it happen to any white quarterbacks? Why y'all overpaying mediocre talent? Trying to keep them at the top of the money list because you know the majority of the league is black, and eventually with the majority of the black quarterbacks ascending, the money list will also be black. For people who say this wasn't about race, this was exactly about race. If you hear anybody say that, you're going to need to block them because they're going to lie to you. They lying to you about whatever come out their mouth. They know that in 2021 and 2022, what happened with the NFL had to be forced to stop race norming. They know it. And they don't talk about it. That's how you know they know it. They don't even talk about it. They didn't even bring it up in this situation, but it's documented. So is what I shared yesterday. It's documented. You can't trust people who lie to you. You can't trust people who keep the truth from you. You can't trust people who go along with the status quo so they could be comfortable at the Super Bowl. Yes, he has such a turnout, a good welcome by the fans, but that GM needs to be fired. And in my opinion, they put him out there as a black face. Of course they did. Mike Tomlin and Andrew Berry are two black men that might as well be fired because they look the part, but they are not doing the part. They are not being protective of these athletes that they know firsthand, like Lamar Jackson and Shedeur Sanders, who are being unjustly defamed because for whatever reason, between the two of them, the NFL don't want either of them to win. Lamar Jackson didn't say where he wanted to go or not go, and he still got defamed. I don't think Jalen Hurts said a damn thing, and he got pushed down to the second round, and he wasn't supposed to start. It messes with their money. They have this system, oh, you a QB2 because you came out in the fourth round, so you can't start. Why y'all think you can hear Andrew Berry tell his Shedeur, instead of congratulations, we can't wait to see you, buddy. You did such a good job in college. We love you here, blah, 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 blah. I want you to earn it, come in and earn your keep. Why? Did he ask you for something, or are you speaking about those baseless claims of him being entitled? Which means I'm going to need to watch you because you're part of the collusion. You got forced into it, and I want to know why. One thing about social media, it leveled the playing field with getting the truth out. And it's more than one person talking about the same topic. And I think that is a thing of beauty. And we all address it a different way. I was on somebody else's podcast earlier showing them love, and they showed me love back. What she said sports, they read my comment. Because we all know that something is going on, and we see different perspectives. Like there was the person, Kyler Moore, who talked about it, life in football. He was one of the people that talked about they scared of Shedeur because they think Coach Prime gonna take his job. Pac-Man Jones said, source on the ground said they trying to get rid of Trevor Lawrence. I was like, why they didn't get rid of him before and get Shedeur and Travis? Because Jacksonville was also part of the collusion against Shedeur Sanders. The fact that his jerseys at number 3 tell you that they were stupid, just like Trump said. And I don't use that word loosely, but it fits the situation. You out here worried about whiteness when you should have been worried about making money because you're supposed to be a business. But now we all know the NFL is a plantation masking as a business. It's business for everybody that does business with the NFL. But the NFL is not a business. It is a plantation. And I told y'all yesterday, the football field is the 100-yard driveway up to the big house. And all of these people that are adjacent, that want to go to the Super Bowl, adjacent to the NFL, that NFL has no respect for, like Jemele Hill, because why? She was at ESPN. They don't respect her. You see how they collude against the people. They colluded against her too. And now it's not racism. If anybody knows it's racism, it's her. It's her. If you think Jemele Hill don't know about the race norming, then you don't know who she is. Stephen A was the only one who would use the word collusion. He want to run for president. So I don't know why he decided to pony up and tell the truth, but he did. And I'll take it. Skip over here, remembering the days that his nanny was black, stomping for Shedeur, calling out Tom Brady. I'm not mad at that because what Skip said about Tom Brady, he could also say about Jerry Jones, who's supposed to be Coach Prime friend. So when people say Coach Prime doesn't have friends, he don't have friends in high places in the NFL. When he was going through his contract negotiations at Colorado, does anybody remember Coach Prime saying, I don't have to interview for a head coaching job? You think that's still true today? Or you think they just going to come and smile in his face like nothing happened? Like, oh, you know what it is, Prime. I can't see it. They thought they did him in. They thought they stuck a fork in him. And Prime too. And tried to tear this young man away from his father like they did so many slaves. And just like Stephen in the big house, people like Jemele Hill and Shannon Sharp and Lord Bomani Jones. Oh my God. And Chris Carter. If you saw the movie Sinners, they were the ones bitten by the vampire. If you didn't see it, then go see it. Shedeur is the guy in Get Out. Every football player are the slaves on the auction block and 12 years of a slave. Yeah. It said, all love and thank you, sister. Peace and blessings, friends and family. Yep. Totally exposed. Yeah, they exposed. This is going to hang over their heads. You know how many people didn't know about this? People like me. I didn't really pay attention to the NFL. I grew up with it. I love sports. During the pandemic, the whole damn way through, the TV was on every day. Shannon Sharp show with Skip. I watched Get Up with Jalen Rose and the rest of them, and basketball and football. So it's ingrained in me. But I only started paying attention when the guys got close to leaving CU so I could familiarize myself. I went to Marshall's. I bought a Cincinnati Bengals hoodie because I said I'm going to get all a few little sweatshirts because I know the guys going to different teams probably. I have the Texans, the Bengals. I have a Raiders water bottle that I'm going to throw straight up in the trash. I have a Falcons jacket that I'm probably going to burn, and the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones wrong too because he loves Shedeur. That's how you know they colluded against him. Jerry Jones loves a bargain. Even Skip said, ain't no way Jerry Jones didn't get Shedeur Sanders and put him behind Dak for 2 years and win the Super Bowl with it. Agreed. That's how you know they colluded. How you going to say the kid is good? I noticed the NFL Network was negative on Shedeur, but they still didn't have him going past the first round. The furthest they had him going was 21, so they can't justify they plot. Well, here's what we're going to do in week 1. They talked about this. This was a strategic, orchestrated attempt to humiliate Shedeur Sanders after the combine. Because why? They claim he's untitled, but he didn't ask them for anything. And it's true, Shedeur did talk about his process, and he said he didn't have no crazy questions. He said he talked about the bullet points that they were saying about him, his weak arm, him being sacked a lot. He addressed the business. When you selling yourself and there's negativity about you, whether it's true or not, you ought to address the business in a meeting. But when Dabal comes back and says, he didn't care whether we liked him or not, I have a problem with that. Because how do you know that? That is purely subjective. And these narratives that they're talking about were actually defamation. It's defamation. They defamed him all through the process to make sure nobody get him. But Boomer said, hell, to be honest, that really ain't true. The owners just said we don't want it. But they didn't tell him. That's collusion with an intent to harm. So for Joy Taylor, whatever her name is, Joy, whatever her name is, not to be able to see conspiracy, she clearly didn't see what Boomer Esiason said, because that's exactly what it was. Boomer did Shedeur a favor if Shedeur ever decides to sue the NFL. And you never know, a state could sue on Shedeur's behalf for workplace violation or something else. I don't think he could be considered an employee, but he's something associated with them because he's in all of their media. So he's something associated and adjacent to the NFL that they colluded against him. They used him. They tried to exploit him for views because he's popular. So you knew he was popular. You knew he was a star because you talked about it every week. And yet you didn't draft it to the 4th round. And then you didn't tell him that you was going to draft him late. You tried to humiliate him. And one of your insiders exposed you with the prank. And then here come Donald Trump, basically pointing out the obvious, that you're willing to forego money in the face of mediocrity. So this league is not about talent. Stephen A. said it. So now we know the NFL is not about talent, right? So when you go to buy your tickets next year, ask yourself, are you really about to spend $300 a pop for a show? You just need to be seen there? Because I can't do it. I stopped watching Hawks games because I realized they were willing to lose. Same thing with the NFL. But I will support Shedeur for my house, like everybody else. And I'm going to buy some t-shirts by somebody else until I can find a link to his product. But he's probably not even focusing on it right now. But there's so much product out there that's not by the NFL that you could get. That's what I said. Look at the other video. It's out there. How you doing, Jerry? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? I don't like Boomer. No, he stuck his chest out. It was like, and I don't blame them for taking him off the board. He really set the NFL up. I was like, so were you trying to help or hurt? I'm like, because you really gave Shedeur a case, which is probably why Big Crump was tweeting, reposting about Shedeur. You know they don't be paying attention to stuff like that, but nobody could ignore it. Not even Trump. Trump called it what it was. Y'all passing up billions on him. And for what? Somebody that nobody knows, which means you're not going to even get his jersey sold. When you look at the jersey, Shedeur was 3. I didn't care about nobody else after that. And Pittsburgh is looking at Shelter and Tampa Bay. Oh, Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin going to get fired. Mike Tomlin and Andrew Berry should have both been Ozzie Newsome and stopped the slide. I'm sorry, the push. But they didn't have the courage, so they show you what kind of men they are. They have the complexion, but they're not really black. You couldn't be black and let that happen to him. Ozzie Newsome couldn't do it. He was on his way out. He had nothing to lose. Andrew Berry, your contract ain't been renewed yet. So you should just went on ahead and drafted him and let him fire you because they're going to do it anyway. If Andrew Berry get fired, I'm going live. When Mike Tomlin get fired, notice I said when, I'm going live. Because they both should have had the courage to do what Ozzie Newsome did and protect those men that look like them because they knew what the plot was. They knew the narrative was defamation. Cleveland didn't want to draft him. Nope. I hope he get traded. You know what I'm saying? When Pac-Man Jones said his sources say they looking to move Trevor Lawrence and they don't care who they move him to. They ought to move him to Cleveland and send Shedeur over there with Travis. You think Travis ain't talking up Shedeur? Because Cameron Craig is over there, and I really felt like Travis had something to do with that. If they let Cam Ward get Restrepo there, we gonna see. We gonna see. And I told y'all Travis had some type of vibe about him that was like, y'all ain't finna play with me. because I see what you're doing. That's his brother still. He not even greeted. His not even greeted. Hey, Lofton. Jerry said, I was alarmed by the call as well. It was like begrudgingly drafted. They were forced into it. See, people thinking the owner decided. I said the owner didn't buck the rest of them. They were standing down pat. They do this all the time. I told you it's called the gentleman's agreement. We've been always women involved now. It goes all the way back to 1934. This is not anything new. They did it to Lamar Jackson. It's documented. It says it. You could Google it. The NFL, I think it was 2023, colluded against Lamar Jackson, where all the owners band together so nobody will offer him a contract. And the question was, why the hell wouldn't anybody want the MVP? They did the same. What they did to Lamar Jackson, they did to Shedeur. Shedeur probably going to be just as great or better than Lamar Jackson. Hell, Jalen Milroe was described as being the next Lamar Jackson, and you see where they drafted him. That's why Jalen Milroe put out belt to ass. Jalen Milroe was also snubbed. This was not about Shedeur. So when Coach Prime say let it go, that means he think it was personal. No. This was about the NFL preserving its whiteness, especially at the QB position, because it is the most important position in the NFL. It's the one that they covered. They don't care about the rest. They could care less. First of all, ain't none of y'all contracts guaranteed, so I can cut you tomorrow. All them HBCU players that got invites to camp, let's see if they make the roster. I want to see who makes the roster. They was going to try to make Shedeur try out as an undrafted free agent so he can earn his keep. But the plot got foiled. They got exposed by the insider who did the prank. They were scared when CNN picked up the story. CNN was talking about it. NBC, everybody was talking about it. And Donald Trump came in. So somewhere between Trump and the prank, Shedeur got drafted, and he had to go to Cleveland. And then when people sit up and look at the fact that Coach Prime said Cleveland wasn't the organization for a young person to go to, that makes you ask the question. So did you always know you was going to do this and Cleveland was going to always be the landing spot because that's not what Coach Prime wanted? Probably. Forced into it after being exposed. And Cleveland was the short straw because we going to teach Prime a lesson. Cleveland, we watching you, whether you know it or not. Cleveland going to have a time with these fans of theirs in the league in general because they fans are dialed in to Shedeur. When you have the top 3 selling jersey, fans are invested in you. And you cannot harm this person. To me, that is a hedge of protection that God sent around Shedeur. You see everybody like him. Play with me if you want to. Play with me if you want to. Like Bubba Dub said, if y'all keep messing, if the NFL keep messing with Shedeur, I'm going to burn it down. That's exactly what God was doing. He lit a match with that prank and Trump of all people. And he back on his normal stuff. He mad about who was at the White House or this, that, and the other. I don't care about that. This is proof that God can make people be what he needs you to be for them. If you didn't believe God existed, you should have if you watched that NFL draft. We will find out if they are fans. Yeah, but people have already said that Cleveland colluded in the plot to not necessarily defame, but to humiliate Shedeur Sanders. And then, Shedeur had his draft party. He already had it planned. So, I'm on Twitter. It's a new thing. And I honestly, I just be asking them questions. So, like, it was a picture posted that Bucky reposted of Shedeur's party. And apparently somebody gifted Shedeur $1 million. So you could see it in the Louis Vuitton case is clear in the front at the party. So people were complaining about it, the haters. I say, y'all so jealous of this kid. Y'all scared of him because he's exactly what you didn't want Black people to be. You feel like if more Black people are like him, you're going to get replaced. They hate on him so much on social media, but what did people say? Social media and real life are 2 different things. Everybody loves Shedeur. People so ready to see him play. They like, he better start. Cleveland fans, some want Flacco. Some want Shedeur. I personally think he could get traded. And it wouldn't be a bad thing. Not if it's Jacksonville. Jacksonville, to me, is the likely and best fit. It makes sense for Jacksonville because Cleveland clearly doesn't appreciate Shedeur being there, telling him to come earn his keep. That's not what you tell somebody when they just got drafted to the NFL. And that's all they wanted to do since they're a kid. They don't want him to enjoy himself. The NFL's already like, no, don't nobody interview him. You can't tell social media what to do. And we know Bucky gonna record. And even if somebody said Roger Goodell said Bucky can record, I don't know whether that's true or not. But I know one thing, you not stopping that. Because when he not at y'all facility, he at his house or he in between or on a PJ, he will be recorded and we will see America's QB1 because that is what they are calling Shedeur Sanders. America's QB1. And Jerry Jones ought to be kicked in his little bottom because he's supposed to be America's team. They all could have went up. So let's see who has sense enough to appreciate the talent and capitalize off of it with him instead of trying to exploit him. Shedeur should have been a Heisman candidate. Yep, they snubbed him in college. I feel so bad for him because he got snubbed in college. They dragged him the way they had him sacked. His own O-line did that to him. People was like, he blamed his teammates. He did not. He did not. And he should have, because I did. I sure did. I asked which one of them was on the tape, because they were. Hope don't none of them make it to the NFL ever, or the CFL, or whatever else they got. Allowing that young kid to get hurt like that. They were hoping it would end his career. You get PTSD. Shedeur talked about it when you're being sacked consistently like that. Good evening, Jackie. Good evening. Yeah, it's disgusting. The NFL left so many people feeling disgusted they didn't even want to buy the jersey. And they didn't, and it still rose to number 3. Imagine what would happen, because I don't trust Cleveland. Imagine what would happen if he was in Jacksonville with Travis. Pac-Man Jones said apparently they have a swimming pool. He said he showed the stadium. It wasn't nobody there. They ain't have nobody there. I was like, what? I mean, their stadium is huge. And it has a swimming pool, apparently. But it was nobody there. Same thing the Carolina Panthers went through. And you didn't draft the best QB and wide receiver when you had the opportunity. Cleveland had the opportunity to get Travis and Shedeur. But you know what? Now that I see who Cleveland is, I don't even want Shedeur in Cleveland. I know y'all done bought your jerseys, but I'm just going to be honest. They don't appreciate it. Look how they welcomed him. We want you to come in and earn your keep. Nothing's promised. You know what? Play with me if you want to. Play with me if you want to. If God feel like that's the best place for Shedeur, that's where he's going to be. But I wouldn't be surprised if he get traded. I just wouldn't. And Jacksonville could be the spot. And baby, it's going up. Travis and Shedeur back together and Cameron Silver-Craig there. And Shedeur might get another wide receiver. And y'all already know who it's going to be. Jimmy Horn Jr. The father should be fired. Hey, Robin. The father. I know the head coach of the New York Giants should be fired and whoever wrote this statement. So let's get into this. This is an anonymous assistant coach. If you know how much assistant coaches in the NFL make, please let me know in the chat. I did a search and I didn't come up with more than $100,000. And I know it's not people out here making $50,000 and $60,000 as assistant coaches hating on QBs that were getting ready to make 40. Because if so, that's jealousy, it's envy, and it's also trying to harm. And if they discuss this secretly with other people, it is collusion. It all falls under collusion. It's just everywhere, reeking through this process. So, okay, let's talk about it. It says, all right, I got to move some stuff around. All right, it says, an anonymous NFL assistant coach. One longtime NFL assistant coach said his time with Shedeur Sanders was the worst formal interview I've ever been in my life. Notice it's in yellow. Why is it in yellow? I need to know why it was the worst interview. You don't just get to defame somebody and say it was the worst. Why was it the worst? It said he's so entitled. Where is the proof? You see why it's green? Because calling somebody entitled is subjective if you don't have any proof. And even if you did you understand the context? That's why it's green. Shedeur has one hell of a case. It says he takes unnecessary sacks. So is that true? And how many times? Because we all know he won the Jim Thorpe Award for the best quarterback in college, which means they didn't think that. Or are you repeating what somebody said? It said he never plays on time. That is so elementary. Never? He never plays on time. When he damn sure executed that Hail Mary in Baylor. So you look at all these negative statements. Look at all these negative statements. Very, very subjective and generalized. The worst formal interview I've ever been in my life with no explanation as to what the hell you're talking about and proof to back it up. He's so entitled. And what makes you think that? Because you didn't sell us. You just said it to try to dissuade us. That's 2 negative comments. He takes unnecessary sacks. Absolutely no proof. This young man was a Heisman candidate. Top 5, in fact. And he won the Jim Thorpe Award, and he was Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. So we have a problem with this comment. I need evidence. He never plays on time. Never. Where's the proof that he never plays on time? Because we have years of film on him showing that he does, and the accolades to go with it, including a Heisman candidate and the Jim Thorpe Award, and the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year, and the #1 QB in the league in college football. For what? Accuracy. He hella accurate, but he never plays on time. You can't be accurate if you're always late. The two don't go together. So all of these are just defamatory, subjective bullshit with no evidence to back it up. No support. He has horrible body language. And he blames his teammates. He has horrible body language. Are you serious right now? If they had posted this before the draft, this person would not have a job and should be banned from the NFL because the fans would have roared. These are the narratives that were put out about Shedeur that got him pushed to the 5th round. Lawsuit, lawsuit, lawsuit. You got to do it. You got to do it. A congressional hearing or something. But the biggest thing is he's not that good. Now, did y'all hear me say that? The biggest thing is he's not that good. You a lowly assistant coach, likely making less than $100,000 a year. And you trying to disparage a kid that's getting ready to make 40 because either you don't like his skin color or you jealous because of your position in life. You made your own choices. I mean, just the first paragraph alone is enough for a lawsuit. These are the narratives that they were using to push this young man to the 5th round. So when you see all of these posts saying, why did Shedeur slide the draft? Copy and paste this comment right here and just go ahead on and put it in these sections because this is it. Notice nobody put out these statements. They are available on the internet for free. All you got to do is copy and paste. Everybody's is not race. Did they talk about this? No. Did they talk about the race Norman? No. Did they talk about Lamar Jackson? No. Everybody want to say, well, they said he failed. He did the worst. Why you didn't pull this up and read it to your audience? Because it will prove that that is a lie and y'all are stupid. Just like Trump said. The only thing I would probably agree with. Because y'all are stupid. It shows that y'all conceive this stupid plot to push this young man to the 5th round because y'all jealous. Y'all threatened. You know he elite, and it's going to expose your laziness, your incompetence. But you wanted to use him, so you got exposed. So we're going to keep on exposing you. It's nauseating to read the rest of this, so I'm going to leave it on the screen. But y'all see how I have color-coded things. And just the first paragraph alone, it just gets worse on the way out. The first paragraph alone is enough to sue these people under the bridge because this is what they supposedly made their decision on with their narratives, which was just defamation. But then maybe that's why Boomer Esiason is running around telling people, well, the owner said, just take him off the board. So it wasn't these stupid ass remarks right here. So you see, they trying to move themselves away from this. I even read an article that said head coach Brian Daboll is trying to dodge questions about Shedeur's interviews when he said Shedeur was unprepared, that he had an entourage, and that he was entitled. Now he want to freeze up and not talk because he in trouble. The NFL is in trouble. If you ever know who the Wicked Witch of the West is from The Wiz, or from the, what is it, Snow White or whatever, and she dies at the end and she yelling and screaming and she turns into a puff of smoke, but it takes her a long time to die, that's the NFL. Racism is expensive. If all of these black quarterbacks, past and present, wanted to file a $1 billion class action lawsuit, let's go $2.5 billion. They would get it. There's enough evidence on the internet, which is why nobody's talking about it, because they want to glamorize the NFL. But now, see, they can't no more, because we all see it ain't nothing but a plantation. Masking is a business. And the business is not even following federal rules and regulations for workplace conduct. They not even in compliance with HR. And HR in the NFL is really Jim Crow. But they believe they are beyond reproach because they have gotten away with it for so long. And sometimes when people get away with a crime for so long, and collusion seems to be the crime of choice in the NFL, they mess up real bad for the world to see. And that's where we are. Maybe Lamar Jackson mom told him, baby, don't sue, don't worry. They're going to keep doing the same thing and they're going to get exposed. And here they are. People are not going to let this go. This is ugly. It's not even what we thought. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't exist. There's no place for it, and we don't need it. We don't need it. I'm serious when I say Coach Prime should start his own pro football league, and Shedeur should be QB1. They could hold a draft next year, next spring, and start in the fall. I'm not playing. It's so damn doable. And they would have players. And Coach Prime could take the Prime effect and implement it on his own league from a player's perspective, where Black players are respected and nobody thinks their brains have lower cognitive function. And nobody's out here ruining people's lives and stealing generational wealth because they worried about Black players taking over. Players will be treated with respect, just like they are at Colorado. He already had a league. He had a program. Just like he was a coach in high school, he moved on to Jackson State, moved on to Colorado, and they both benefited from the Prime effect. It's time. We can't keep letting these guys go to this plantation like this, even though they all know what's up. The heads up is so you can start moving and shifting in your own direction and doing for yourself. It's not so you can tolerate and know what landmines to miss. That's a temporary stage. It's so you can set up for the future to have your own league. I don't care if you buy a gold chain, but you should be having conversations with your colleagues and your peers and your investors in high places. That's not in the NFL, obviously. And they gonna come running. Well, Prime, let us buy your league. No. Get the hell on. Y'all are stuck in the plantation 3/5 of a human being era, and that's not where we at. See, you know what people don't even understand? The NFL think that they want Black people to be slaves. You know what they don't understand? We don't have the same mentality as back in the day. And I'm not negating our ancestors at all. They were living in different times. They came from a foreign land, spoke a foreign language, was on a boat for I don't know how long. And when they got here, didn't know where they were, saw people that didn't look like them, and they didn't speak the same language, and they weren't allowed to talk to each other. They weren't allowed to congregate. So they had to figure it out for themselves. They were throwing table scraps. But instead of eating the table scraps that some people still eat, called chitlins and pig ears, they decided to go hunting and fishing for themselves. In all those hours and decades and centuries of toiling in the sun and manual labor, altered our DNA to the damn beast that we are. And they mad. Well, that's not what I intended. That's because you're not in control. And that's what they don't understand. Shedeur said it. It's like they trying to play God. He was right. But now we got the next generation of guys coming out. Arch Manning said he ain't coming out. Why would he? Darian Mincer got $8 million. Arch Manning's already at $6 And if what's his name at Miami has 4.3 and with endorsements a total of 10, he could have 15, which is more than he would make in his rookie year. And he see how they treating these people. They from New Orleans. They know what's up. They probably don't like it. If he not chomping at the bit to get there, they don't like this. Not a coincidence Jackson Dart came from Ole Miss. Eli, I feel like Eli went to Ole Miss and their other brother, Cooper, who got injured in college with a spinal injury, who's now an energy trader in Texas. Also involved in family. That nobody would suggest is an entourage. It's just a big family. And they have social media teams following them. They have security following them. I'm so sick of this. I don't want to sit through another NFL draft and I have no intentions. And I know there are guys coming out of Colorado. I wish them well. I will somehow try to support them, but I am not wasting my time knowing what we know now. See, when you know things like this, you're supposed to shift. You're supposed to move differently. You're not supposed to just say, let it go and keep doing what you did before because you're still in the situation. Do y'all really think they're going to give Shedeur Sanders a fair shot? Or are they going to have to be forced into it? Honestly, do you really believe Cleveland, after being forced to take him, after passing up on him 5 times or 4.5 times, is going to give Shedeur a fair shot when they begrudgingly welcomed him to the damn franchise? Which is essentially repeating the same BS that Dieball was saying about him. He's entitled and he thinks people owe him something. And that young man has never acted that way. He's gracious. People are coming out and doing interviews about Shedeur saying, no, he's very gracious. He spent so much time on the phone talking to my kids. And, you know, when I was just trying to get an interview, Shedeur signed everybody autograph at Texas Tech, including 3 tortillas that were thrown at them. He's been so hated on so much. We watched him be snubbed. I think the best times were at Jackson State. Now I see why they didn't want to leave. Now I see why the sister went back to an HBCU. It's nothing like being around people who respect you. Even if y'all beefing, you know they're not trying to hang you from a tree while they eat their cornflakes. We sick of this. And the NFL don't respect us either as fans. As Black fans, I don't even think they care if we show up or not because we are not the people that they want them to labor in front of because we're not going to get a kick out of it. They were willing to humiliate him in front of us. I can't do it, bro. I'm going to support these guys. But I need somebody to take the lead and start a Black-owned pro sports league. It's going to have a non-Black investors, but this league needs to be from the perspective of NFL players, and it needs to have rules and regulations and charters about respect for the human. And there would be zero tolerance for racism of any kind, forward or backward or reverse or whatever. We trying to play sports and make money. People say the NFL is a business. No, the hell it ain't. It's a plantation masking as a business that thrives off of collusion and exploitation of people that they don't value because their brains have lower cognitive functioning. But it's okay because you know what? It tells you who to respect, who to listen to, who to follow. Shedeur know who his friends are, and so does Coach Prime. I wonder if he can now get a job as a head coach without an interview, and would he even want it after the way his son was treated? I don't care if you forgive him or not. See, just because you forgive somebody don't mean you're supposed to trust them or associate with them. You can forgive and keep it pushing. Now, ultimately, that's what I think should happen. You know what? I forgive y'all. I'm going to go over here with my dad and start my own league, and next year I'll be QB1. We're going to do a draft. It's not hard. If 7-on-7 could pop up, so could they. You don't need an NFL stadium to play a game in. Not your first season, and I wouldn't want theirs no way. You don't even need it. It's enough arenas around here. Every college, university, it's 103 HBCUs. So if you take the PWIs, they'll lease it to you too, because everybody want to make money except for the NFL when it comes to competitive sports. They care about the check for the TV rights and the merch and the ticket sales. See, the victory for the Super Bowl and winning games, that's for the players. They don't care about that. That's petty zoo shit. I care about the money I get from leasing out my arena and my campus and my facility and my gym and my private jet and this, that, and the other. I care about the auxiliary income. Winning the Super Bowl is for Lamar Jackson was for Lamar Jackson. They have robbed him so many times. Shedeur and Lamar Jackson, I would love to see them in the same photo. Matter of fact, I'm going to have to watch to see if Cleveland plays Baltimore, because I'm going to tell you something. We might see God open up the heavens that day, because those two have been through it. They have been through it. Shedeur in college, and now the NFL, and Lamar Jackson, I don't know what he went through at Louisville, but I know he was loved and celebrated and won the Heisman. But when he got to the NFL, whoo, they did a number on him. CJ Stroud too. I'm sure the more I read, the more I'm going to learn. Often I notice that too. They don't want him there. I hope he gets away from there. I just don't like him in Cleveland. I don't either. I'm going to be honest with you. I hate to tell y'all, my favorite colors are orange, teal, and brown. So the Browns, I should be out here celebrating. I don't trust them, bro. I knew before I heard that call. When I first heard the call, I said, that's not what you say to somebody. And people are starting to point it out. People are also catching on. Just like they're catching on that Eli Manning did exactly what Shedeur did. He had concerns about the organization. And like Joy said, it seems to be really difficult to hold these organizations accountable. So for all these adjacent black people to the NFL that want to be comfortable at the Super Bowl, they figure if you can't beat them, join them. I can't trust you either. I don't want to hear shit out your mouth. Because you will sail us up the river if they decide to round us all up, put us in camps, and put us on a boat back to a different continent. You just be standing right there as long as you could be comfortable, and they didn't do it to you. And that's how slavery got started in the first place. So you have to be vigilant of people like that. It seemingly they all have the microphones. That's dangerous. You have to be weary of people wanting you to buy into the stereotype, and people who want to tell you it ain't racism when you see what it is with your own eyes. When they don't want to talk about the things that show you that it's racism. You can't trust people like that, because they are somehow benefiting from the same system that is oppressing you. Number 3 in sales, and his number hasn't been assigned. Right. And I hope he get number 2. See, I don't trust Cleveland. I don't. I'm going to just say it. I don't. I felt like last night, I didn't even want to say it today. Before I heard Pac-Man Jones, I felt like Shedeur was going to get traded. I really did. Because Cleveland got pushed into this. They should have wanted it, but they got forced into it. Now they got too many QBs. And now they got politics they got to play. Well, we can't push Joe Flacco out because we got to worry about the white people. Because, you know, that's what they worry about. Then as Kenny Pickett, he white. We can't push him out. Y'all know what happened in 1934. The gentleman's agreement, that they was worried about white people's feelings, about black people making money over white people. Then there's Dylan Gabriel. That shouldn't even be a question. And then there are teams that could actually trade, like Jacksonville. Jacksonville makes too much sense. The dynamic duo back together, your stadium is already empty. It will be full and sold out probably for the next 4 or 5 years. And probably get to the Super Bowl. But are they going to have the courage to do it? Their owner's not white. But he hired a lot of white people to work there. So if you black in the NFL and you see what's happening to these young men, and you sit at coach and GM, and you let them be humiliated because you worried about your damn job, you're going to have to worry about more than your job now. Watch what I tell you. Isaac Newsom is a hero. He stopped the slide, traded into the first round, and got Lamar Jackson. That was his last activity for the Ravens. He had nothing to lose. I guess Mike Tomlin feel like he got something to lose when they was already forcing Aaron Rodgers on him before Shedeur Sanders came into the conversation, which meant they already didn't respect you. Andrew Berry, they basically told him what to do, and he out here trying to project the job when they breathing down his neck in the room. And he looked like he on a roller coaster about to ascend in a downward incline. He's so scared. Oh shit. They told us not to do it, but then they did it. So what I'm gonna do now? I have no respect for people like that. And no, I don't trust them with Shedeur. So I know people bought jerseys, but we're gonna see. And I think I'm kind of praying that it's Jacksonville. In my heart, I think so. I think it will be better. Good evening, fam. Good evening, fam. Good evening. Oop, Lofton, I noticed that too. Someone better sue the NFL for data breach. Let's see what they're going to do about that. They are all friends. Yep. And I do believe they had closed door strategic meetings to come up with this cockamamie plan to humiliate this young man, because of course anybody else would be like, well, let me ask you a question. You said at the combine you felt like he was entitled because he wanted to go to another team, right? Yes. Well, didn't somebody else worry about going to another team? Yes. So why could he do it and not him? Well, you don't have no reason. There was somebody who told me in the comments on IG, well, Eli Manning was 6'5". I said, Eli Manning and Shedeur Sanders not in the same draft. I'm not asking you to compare their playing qualities. I'm asking you to tell me a rational reason as to why Eli Manning can do something that Shedeur can't, and it's the same thing. You don't have a reason. You're trying to establish a system or perpetuate a system or further a system of Jim Crow, and we ain't going for it. Y'all want to force a system of Jim Crow on people that have never been a part of Jim Crow. We're not going for it. There's some people that might, but we not. And now that we see, we're not going for it. We have a different mentality because we living in different times. You did not bring me over here from a foreign land where I spoke my tribal language and I don't know where I am and I'm scared for my life. I'm not scared of shit. And we're going to stand up and speak for this young man, something again y'all don't want us to do. But just because you don't want us to do it don't mean we're not going to do it. That means you are not living in the reality of the current year that you live in. You are stuck in your 3/5 of an America. And this ain't that. So get over it or get the hell on out the way. But what I would prefer, just like Unrivaled Basketball was started by two basketball players from their perspective of what basketball players deserve to be respected, all of them. That's what I want Coach Prime to do. Start a professional league, because if anybody can do it and it be successful, it's him. The Prime effect, put it on it and it's done. We all coming. We know we coming. Look how many people want to see Cleveland play. Don't none of us care about Cleveland, except for maybe Damon and some old Cleveland fans in the chat. I've never watched Cleveland play football, not even when Deshaun Watson was there after I knew what they did to him, because I didn't care about that. He was wrong. Hey, what she said, good evening. Keep up the good work. You tell the truth anyway. Yeah, hey, Crowley. Okay, that's all I can do. That's what God created me to do. So I can't be scared. Somebody said earlier that, there are other people talking about it, but people don't feel that we can't be as transparent. And I like, a lot of other content creators on the CU side. I respect them. We do different things. And I said, well, this is the downside to being close to the subject. You can't speak on it because, like, when people didn't want to talk about Travis, I don't know Travis. I like Travis. If I saw Travis in the street, I'd give him a hug right now. Tell him how proud I am of him. And don't think it was missed on me that you took up for your brother, because I know you did. I saw you do it. So he shocked them. He did. Now, why it is they were sitting up telling him multiple times, look, leaning in, we got you. I mean, not that we acquired you, but we got you. Travis was like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, what the hell are you talking about? We're going to have to see. But they support him. They his support system. So maybe something going to happen. He need a support system. Those people love Travis. I hope they love Shedeur too. It's obvious collusion. What else could it be? Oh, no, that's what it is. It's collusion rooted in racism, designed to preserve the way the NFL used to look at the quarterback position. In other words, they want to make America great again. So they want to make the NFL great again. That's what they're trying to do. Because they I don't know if it's because they've been so busy. They've been so busy behind closed doors colluding against Lamar Jackson. I don't think they realize that this was the year. Of course they know. That once the top 3 QBs, Milrose, Sanders, and Ward, take over, it is 18 of 32 starters. Cam is 16. Shedeur is 17. And if Shedeur starts, Lord, it's going to be interesting. Especially if he starts in Cleveland, because somebody forced him into it. But the question is who? Because none of them cared about the billions that Shedeur could generate. They knew his jersey was going to be on and popping. They knew all of that. But they were willing to forego it. I want you to always remember this quote. There are some people that if they can't be the captain of the ship, meaning the majority of the quarterbacks, they will sink the whole damn thing. And that's what they was trying to do. They didn't even care about sullying the brand. While it's true that they got exposed, even before they got exposed, people were like, what the hell y'all doing? Why are you passing up a good player? You know, there was somebody that had the audacity to say they were upset because he uses legendary. You haven't done anything to be legendary. Wait till you get to the NFL, then you could put it on your house. I say, have y'all not heard of manifestation? So he can't even manifest greatness. They so jealous that they have it all figured out where Shedeur is concerned. So when he was on his podcast and said that they have preconceived notions of me, he's right. And they use those preconceived notions to fabricate a narrative to defame him so they could collude against him and try to prevent the number of Black starting QBs from becoming the majority. Collusion, rooted in racism for preservation of whiteness. That's what we witnessed in the draft. Thank you. Willful ignorance. I don't know what we're talking about. And if you're talking about me, have a good day. I also noticed that he wasn't greeted. Right. He wasn't greeted on the call. That's why I say they didn't welcome him. That's why I said, there's a few things online. I said, let me go listen to some of these other calls. See, I already scheduled every podcast from now till Saturday for a reason, because I have some research to do. There's so much happening. Y'all don't even know that came out of this. It has to be looked into because the media not going to do it. They're not going to do it. The media not going to talk about the call from Cleveland and how, why were you talking about this? Because this is so-and-so called and all they did was welcome him and we can't wait to see you, buddy. And, you know, we got big plans for you. That's what it should have been. So they targeted him again. They're isolating him and treating him different again. I'm like, they so scared of this kid that he going to be great. You're right. And if you can't handle it, then go ahead on and turn in your resignation. Because you ain't going to stop it. Shedeur was right when he said they thought they was going to play God. That's what they thought they was doing through the draft. He already said about the media, for the people that slandered him, I don't have no interviews for you. So we might need to do a GoFundMe to pay for his fines because I'm happy to do it. I don't want him talking to none of them because they thought they was going to force him into this and force him into that and force him down out the draft into unrestricted draft-free agent, draft-free agent so he could earn his keep. Andrew Berry needs to be tied to a tree and beat for that. That's how you know he's not Black. That's a young Black man that you're supposed to be guided, that you're supposed to have some connection with, that he made it, and you want to continue further to try to push him down and follow this false narrative and tell him that God works in mysterious ways. He sure do, and you're going to find out. You're going to find out how mysterious the God works. That's probably why he in Cleveland, because you deserve to get fired. So if he don't get traded, there's something to be done in Cleveland. Understand that. Coach Prime was on it correctly. CJ Stroud, second year of sacks was horrendous because Houston Texans let 3 All-Pro linemen go, but signed Diggs from Buffalo and Mixon from Cincinnati. It's protecting QBs. Well, that's what I already talked about that. I said what happened to CJ Stroud was not a coincidence. I said if all of these Black QBs, past and present, band together, they could win. Probably the price goes up. A $3 billion class action lawsuit. There's enough evidence that there's a disparate system between white QBs, what they have to endure, and how they get overpaid for being less talented. That's why Josh Allen was. That's why Lamar Jackson was snubbed at MVP, because I can't give Josh Allen $330 million without the fans being pissed off at me, because he's not better than Lamar Jackson. And then I listened to Emmanuel Acho endlessly try to explain that Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in the league, but that does not mean he's the most valuable. I said, this is why they hire people like y'all. That's why everybody that you see on the media or used to be, see, I'm gonna tell y'all something about these past NFL players. See, they mad. They mad. They not happy they should do it for to get $40 million. oh, he should have tested the owners. You know why? Because they put up with a system of racism. They put up with racism for money, and they didn't get $40 million. They don't want to help him. That's why they ain't call him and tell him. They let these young men come in here blind to the NFL. They let these young men, I guess they think they're being hazed like Caleb Wilson was down at Southern University. That's how older black men seemingly, too many of them, treat the younger generation like they competition. Instead of having a father figure mindset like Coach Prime. Coach Prime is like a father figure to Pac-Man Jones, 2 Chainz, and some other people. Because I guess they didn't have one or they passed on. But see, there are too many people that are not Coach Prime. They just let these guys fall. And then when they get caught playing in the snow, they want to come back and tell us they black. Oh, now you black. Well, why you keep playing in the snow? Because you don't respect blackness. As the male or female, look at how Ocho get treated on Shannon's show. I'm like, Ocho, at some point, you're going to get the hell up and start your own because this is ridiculous. I talked about that. Some of these older black men are so jealous that the younger generation has it easy. Oh, you get to drive a Charger, a Challenger to high school. It ain't like you had to walk 6 feet in the snow. Maybe you had to catch the school bus. They jealous. Not all, but way too many. It ain't a lot of Coach Primes out there. Maybe LeVar Ball is one. LeBron James is one. Y'all saw Coach Prime with young Dolph's son and daughter over there. They refer to him as their little brother. They got a big family, and they just got him now. And they've been with him since their young man father passed. And I never forget when Dolph was at Jackson State, I said to myself, oh, he's moving on beyond the rap game. And what happened? Jealousy. So Shedeur got to deal with it within the community from people like Chris Carter and Bomani Jones who gonna want to stick a microphone in his face. And he got to deal with it outside the community with people who having 3/5 of America plantation fantasies with Jim Crow as the head of HR. That's a hard place to be in. It is. It's a tough place to be in at that age. If you, Coach Prime age, you've been there and done that, you know. But at his age, he just want to play football. And that's who they're exploiting. Our best and brightest who just want to play football. But they're getting abused and humiliated. Why were they sharing CJ Stroud test scores around to the point where CJ Stroud, his agency wrote a letter. We're probably going to talk about it on the next episode. It said, we have advised all of our draft prospects not to take any tests. They are only expected to participate in activities that have direct relation to football. These tests have no bearing on the game of football. And since CJ Stroud's test was shared around in a humiliatory fashion, we have advised our draft prospects that we represent to respectfully decline. Did anybody in the media talk about that? So now we can add Michael. We can talk about Michael Vick. We could talk about Deshaun Watson. We could talk about Robert Griffin III. We could talk about Geno Smith. We could talk about Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, CJ Stroud, and Shedeur Sanders. The list just keeps going the more I keep looking. They did away with the Wonderlic test after Lamar, but you see they kept it pushing. And they did it to CJ Stroud. That's exactly Sharon trying to humiliate CJ Stroud with his mental aptitude scores, and we don't know what they were, is exactly what they did to Lamar Jackson, which is why they had to do away with the Wonderlic test. They only move on from their plantation ways when they are forced to do so, and they still fight it. They still fight it by not paying the money that they have settled to pay. So, you know, it's one of those things where we have to embrace these guys. because the older generation that look like them see them as competition because they have it easier. People who don't look like them that they work for have plantation fantasies, so they get exploited and humiliated and degraded and hurt physically and paid less, and then they die and nobody talks about it. Suing those guys, suing doesn't really help. If you sue, your career's over. So when they get to a point where they don't want to play anymore, or if they retire and their health is still good and they want to remember their glory days, they might still want to be associated with the NFL like Chris Carter. He just want to be relevant. They want Shedeur to play the game that they played because they don't want to admit they didn't have to play it. They didn't have to play it. They don't even want to admit that they all could have band together and sued. They didn't, because they want to still be seen and associated to the NFL, because in their minds, it's glamorous. Not in mine. It's disgusting. It's a plantation. And they know it. So all of that glory they holding on to, how you going to celebrate that when you know that you chose to experience racism for money? So, all right. So that's where we are tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. Like I said, all of the shows are actually planned from now until Saturday. So you can choose one, you know, and we'll be back tomorrow. Let me read some of the comments before we get out of here. I'm going to turn on the music now that I'm kind of done talking. And we're going to read some of y'all's comments because I appreciate y'all hanging out. All right, so let's see what we have here. All right, it says, the young man heard his dad and others probably joking about what they were doing to Shedeur, and he wanted to get in on it. Yes, I said that yesterday. Yes, Falcons need to fire someone, and the Falcons need to be fined. If the Falcons don't have, they try to just say the Falcons were part of banning against Shedeur. Let's be clear. All 32 teams colluded against Shedeur Sanders. They band together against Shedeur Sanders, just like Boomer Esiason told us that they did. Then, as they have been running around trying to justify pushing him down to a later round, but yet still trying to get views off of him, which is exploitation, they want to tell their story, and they told us that he bombed his interviews. I'm gonna need evidence. See, they think they are beyond reproach, and this is as far as it's gonna go. I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. I don't believe this is the end of it. They might let it go. It's not getting let go. You're gonna see. It's too much involved. It's a data breach. It's an insider involved with the prank going viral. It was recorded. Was anybody else's? He was being humiliated already, and it was the team and the GM that was on the clock. It's so much here, and that's just that. Then you take Boomer Esiason. Then you take Daball's comments that were purely subjective. Then you take this assistant that I had on the screen that's anonymous, and then guess what you do? You haul them into a front of congressional hearings or court, and you make them. Who told you this? Or you going down too? Josina said it was anonymous. Josina know who said it. She can be forced into talking about it. There gets a time that this gets real serious and everybody has to stop being anonymous and talk. The owners who band together against them are anonymous. It's not going to fly in a congressional hearing. To say he's entitled is not going to fly in a court of law. So either Shedeur going to pop up with $50 million, because I heard Cleveland was trying to give him a signing bonus. I don't know if that's the one outside of what Sports Illustrated already reported at $466,000. But everything they tried to throw at him didn't stick. The only thing that happened is they got exposed for being a slave plantation masking as a business. That's what came of it. It's not over with West Shedeur lands. It's not over that he's the 5th pick and lost $50 million. It's not, that's not over. That's not over. See, when things become egregious to those magnitudes, other people, extraneous factors get involved. Shedeur is a brand. He has major sponsors. They hurt them too. Hey, everybody. What she said. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? That's Darlene. Yeah. Hey, Darlene. It says, then Houston signed Dalton Schultz from Dallas, a tight end. Not surprised, because I told y'all about them tight ends. I saw that coming on last year. I was watching the NFL, and one of the announcers said it during the combine. Man, tight ends are taking over. Yeah, because most of them not black. I mean, I guess if most of the quarterbacks going to be black, I'm going to have to make it a tight end. And now tight ends start to get paid like they quarterbacks, which means once that tide does turn, if not this year, next year, they're going to shift to the most important position, being to the one majority held by white players. So all the guys that wanted to be quarterbacks that came into the league that took all of the BS, they just going to change the position that is the most important. But by then, you should have your own league. So it shouldn't be nothing to talk about. 2019. Oh, okay. I asked if somebody was drafted in 2019. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you. It's time for the NFL to change. No, it's time for Coach Prime to start his own league. So it's time for the NFL to implode. Just like the Wicked Witch of the West. Shedeur should play in Canada. I don't think he should play for anybody else. I think Coach Prime has too much talent, business sense, connections, and past success for him not to do this. There are too many, I guess, football stadiums sitting around that he could use for 20 teams to play 10 games in 4 conferences on the East, the West, and possibly the North or South, depending on how you want to call it. Bucky is media. He could stream the games. We watch his content anyway. During the draft, I think most of the videos that he did are now hitting at 1 million. It will be no different if Coach Prime has, say, whatever he want to call his league. We will follow him, and guys will want to play for him. He wouldn't even have to leave Colorado. I just need him to start the league and put the rules and regulations in place and the norms of respect and give football players what they deserve that the NFL is not giving them, which first and paramount is respect for the person. The money will come. I'm telling you, this is what he should do. And if Shedeur get traded or they treat him bad in Cleveland, he need to stop everything and get it done. Because somebody has to do it. But out of all of them, he's the best one to do it. Remember, he was snubbed in this too. They tried to snatch his child away from him and separate the two. Just like they used to do slaves by saying your daddy is the problem. What you want me to do? Disown my daddy for money? So they think they'll do anything for money. And maybe in some respects they see it that way because they are subjecting themselves to racism for money. So they don't respect them. They don't respect them anyway, but that's just another reason for them not to respect them. They do not respect those players. And they bold with it because of the current political climate that we live in. Tennessee Titans, can y'all believe Derrick Henry and AJ Brown? No. Yes. Okay. So James, when you said that about the Tennessee Titans, let me tell you something. The other day, I said, we were watching TV. I said, AJ Brown used to play for the Titans and they let him go like Derrick Henry. See, Tennessee is that sleeper team that's like the Giants. What did I tell y'all? I said Tennessee has New York Giant tendencies. Kiel, if you in there, you know I said it because I think it was you that asked me, what does that mean? I said it just like the Giants. I'm right. Yes, the Tennessee Titans have let go talent. And I don't know why. But the crazy part is the Baltimore Ravens were the recipients of said talent when it came to Derrick Henry. And they chose not to use him properly in the Super Bowl. And they used somebody who had been there for almost, I don't know, a decade and was very ineffective, a tight end. Because that's who they want to give glory to. Not Lamar Jackson, and Derrick Henry, Isaiah Likely, and the rest of the guys. And that's where our guy just went, LaJohntay Weston. So I said, that's why people telling Cam Ward, You better keep your head on the swivel, partner, because they coming for you. It's your turn now. See, Shedeur done been drafted. And we watching. See, we all watching Cleveland. We not watching Tennessee. We talking about Tennessee, but we not watching Tennessee. If Tennessee play Cleveland, I'm going to see Tennessee. People have warned Cam, you better put your head on the swivel. Because C.J. Stroud, Caleb Williams, and that's why I told y'all, Jaden Daniels, the guy that they said was one of the problems in Houston, just got sent to Washington. So we better watch Jaden Daniels. And I want y'all to know, some of these guys are black, these O-linemen. What did I say? The older generation is not doing its due diligence to take care of these young black men. Older black men are not doing their due diligence by these young black men. They let them walk into these landmine situations, and then they want to blame them for it. You can't blame people for the racism that they experience because they don't want to admit that they experienced the racism too because they put up with it. Well, I put up with it, so it's good for you. That's how they look at it. It's shameful. Shedeur entitled, but Shiloh not. Right. It's like you said. They scared of Shedeur. See, Shedeur is such an elite talent. And somebody said, well, damn, not a draft over. Y'all still talking about him, but you didn't like him. Just like you said he was trash during the draft, but that's all you kept posting was his ads and on your page. They exploited him. We know you good, but we gonna make you earn your keep. Get the hell on out my face. That's why they got exposed. That was ridiculous. That was disgusting. It was deceitful. So, good evening. Yeah, I was thinking it's kind of good that Shiloh didn't go to the combine. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm kind of glad Shiloh didn't go to the combine, but I hope Shiloh learned a lesson. Because he was like, I'm going to run out here and hire an agent, and he still got signed. Because Shiloh, this was not about your brother. This was not about your daddy. Y'all all missed the message, and y'all was right there waiting for Shedeur to get drafted. Some of them knew what was happening, but Shiloh didn't. He was like, Dad's supposed to be our agent, but, and he was like, oh, you a good dad. I know they was like, but that's who he is, though. He didn't realize, and he probably still don't realize what was going on. I just hope Tampa Bay let him play versus the Saints so he could put a BTA on the Saints. But the Saints are who I said exactly that they were. The politics that they have is problematic. It is. It's problematic. I think when Alvin Kamara went out to Colorado and Coach Prime was loving the idea at CU Pro Day by saying, I like the black and gold. You know what they thought? Oh, he not finna tell us we finna draft his son. That's what they thought. But I hate to say it. When the story came out that, what's his name? Derek Carr was injured for the year mysteriously, there were forces in place to make that happen. Saints fans are now saying they don't think Kellen Moore going to make it 3 years in New Orleans. They think he going to get straight up fired. See, the city want to win. The owners want to play. But see, I'm telling y'all, Trump's popping in wasn't just about Shedeur. His buddy want to buy the Saints, but they not for sale. We shall see how long it is before the Saints have been sold because Trump called them stupid, which means they are incompetent and they need to be sold to somebody else because you don't know what you're doing. I don't know if you can do a hostile takeover of them because you can do it of a corporation, so it's possible, but I don't think it has to get to that. I think you can force people out. You can force people out. And all the women that's running around there thinking because they proximity to that white male power, yeah, okay, we're going to see when they force you out. When they hold your check and tell you, Timothy Fertitta going to be the new owner. Let me see what you're going to say then. You should have drafted Shedeur. Did y'all watch The View? How Sonny was the only person who stood by Shedeur? Yeah. I don't know who's on there, but she's a ride or die. She good when it comes to us. Like, I remember her. Like I said, I don't know who's on there now, but I remember her doing the Haitian when they were humiliating the Haitians and didn't want them to come to America, but they were okay with bringing people from European countries. I think it was her and somebody else. Yeah, they stood 10 toes down. Legendary. What makes him legendary? It could be a manifestation, but what makes him legendary is the fact that he has transformed 3 programs who were absent of winning into winning in championship programs. That's what makes him legendary already. But he could be manifesting to become like Tom Brady. But I don't even know if he should ever mention that man's name again. He really liked Tom Brady a lot. And I know he gonna forgive him because that's how he was raised. So Tom Brady gonna have to get it from God, and he gonna get it. Jerry Jones too. See, I saw a video of Coach Prime coming out the airport. I'm like, let me. I think he was flying commercial because he came. I saw United in the background, and people were asking him what he thought of this, that, and the other. And, you know, he said, God is good, and that's what he's supposed to say because they're gonna keep asking him about it. But you know, I wonder what he really thinks about Dallas letting him be pushed down. The flimsy stories about him being entitled, which is subjective and fabricated by coaches who are incompetent. I mean, I wonder what he really thinks about Tom Brady, who could have, like Isaac Newsom, ended the humiliation of Shedeur Sanders. I wonder what he really thinks about it. What I really want him to do is say, you know what, I'm gonna do what this person said in the DM. I'm gonna start my own league. That's what that's all I want to hear. Because I know it's gonna work. It's what they need. They need to be somewhere that they are respected. They're clearly not respected because the race norming, the settlement, and the fact that they didn't want to pay it to only a few people is further racism. So they got to get out of there. And you want to leave before God push you. That's all I'm gonna say. These old fossils don't know how to deal with this new breed of college players. Right. That's what Joy was talking about. She's right. She said these kids are coming out. Why do you think Archie Manning is staying in school? And I'm gonna tell you something right now. I already said it. When he come out of school, whoever is in New York gonna get fired because they're not dealing with that. They already showed us that Arch Manning is gonna call the NFL and say, my grandson does not want to go to the Giants, even though Eli played there. So here's what we gonna do. You gonna get him somewhere else. He's not playing there. They not playing. They just didn't want Coach Prime to have that because they don't look at him the same. Which means they stabbed him in the back, smiling in his face. All of it is coming out to the school. You know, he thinking he really thought he was right, but the league been racist. So I don't know how certain people thought they were exempt from that. Shannon should have been able to talk about it because I feel like Shannon was a walk-on. I know he experienced it. But see, they not QBs. See, Shedeur is a QB. And they get it the worst because that's the position that they don't want black players in. So much so that they had a ban against it. And black people still rose to the position. Forced them to wide receiver. Black people said no, it still became QBs. Some succumbed to the push to wide receiver. Some did. But some did not. And then it went on to Michael Vick with the dual threat. Like I said, you can sit down and put out a timeline and everybody I know since Michael Vick on has been colluded against. Geno Smith. If you go look up his draft profile, he was supposed to be like the #1 player or the top player in the first round. They did the same thing to him. That's why everybody that's telling you this is not about race is lying to you because they want to be comfortable at the Super Bowl. Or because they want to remember their glory days instead of the reality that their bodies are withering away because they chose to subject themselves to racism for money. Dan Orlovsky, he said he was in the league for 12 years. Kirk Cousins, 14 years. And in the NFL with net worth earnings of $400 million. What? I heard him trying to talk about it today. I didn't get all of what he said. I'm going to have to go back and listen to it. Net worth earnings of $400 million. Okay, so that's going to be in one of these episodes. So I told y'all this negatively affects their money, right? We already 2 hours in. Lord, hit the like button for me, please. Hit the like button. It's 79 of us. Their career earnings. Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are the prime two that is easy to talk about because of what happened to Lamar Jackson. Not only was Lamar Jackson snubbed, people like Emmanuel Acho changed his vote from Lamar Jackson to somebody else so that Josh Allen could win MVP. If Josh Allen wasn't MVP, it would have been very difficult for the NFL to pay the #2 QB $330 million, knowing that they're on the record for colluding against Lamar Jackson. They colluded against him, so no team would take him and offer him the contract. Once they gave Deshaun Watson that guaranteed contract, Lamar Jackson wanted one. They told him no. I think Josh Allen's $330 million contract is majority guaranteed. So Lamar Jackson came out the same year as Josh Allen. Josh Allen was top 10, maybe 26 million. Lamar Jackson got dropped to 32.9 million, just like Shedeur, the disparity in the money. So if I want to climb up the money list, I can eventually. After 5 years, I can get a contract. I can argue whether or not it's guaranteed or not. But because Josh Allen got 26 million and I got 9, if we both get 330 million, he's still ahead of me. So you're going to have to work longer. Lamar Jackson going to have to play longer than Josh Allen to try to even up the money. That's how they put them behind the curve. Now, Shedeur, if you want to be in this league, you're going to have to earn your keep. We were planning to make you an undrafted free agent, but you got in. We only paying you $5,000. You made more in college. So that's on you if you want to leave. But since you want to play football, we got you for cheap. And your good buddy got a guaranteed contract of $43 million. You're going to have to outplay him probably by a damn decade to catch up to him. Because if y'all both get a contract in the 5th year, say for $300 million, his career earnings or his contract earnings would be $343 million, and yours would only be $304,000. That's what they do. They weaponize the draft against people they don't like, and they typically black quarterbacks, but they couldn't do it to Cam Ward because there was no justification for it. They couldn't do it to Milroe because there was no story that would make sense to justify it. So Shedeur was the collateral damage because of his dad. So they chose to stick Coach Prime, but stab him and his family in the back. Shedeur knows these people. Y'all know Shedeur knows these people. Because since they can't be the majority, and I'm trying to make sure that y'all not the majority, I got to burn somebody to do it. And it's y'all. I want to see going forward, if they Kiki and Ha in this man's face, because I'm sorry, I'm going to forgive you, but you can't be in my face. And they really shouldn't even let that happen, but it's going to be hard for Shedeur. He's going to have to deal with reporters trying to force themselves on him. He's going to have to deal with the NFL trying to dim his light because they don't want him to be the face of the league because they only paid him $5,000 and now he got the top 3 selling jersey. And then he's going to have to deal with some of the people that look like him, blaming him consistently, coming up to him, brother, you know, you should play the game. What the hell game you talking about? Racism? Oh, I should shut up and dribble. That's what I should do. Here's the thing. He didn't say nothing. I could see if he did something. I could see if he asked them for special privileges. Some people like he should have never canceled his interview. I think he canceled the interview with the Titans. Damn, the Giants and the Titans kept pulling him back and forth, and they were supposed to be getting Cam. If they were talking about Cam for 2 weeks straight, then why wouldn't they just get him and then Shedeur go with the Giants? See, Shedeur said his time and his, I guess, interviews were good, but that's not what they saying, but they don't have no proof. Shedeur telling us what he talked about. He said he just took the elephant out of the room and addressed the things that they said about him. His arm was weak. He gets sacked all the time. One person said he never plays on time. That's a lie. The things that they said about him were fabricated. He was a scapegoat, him and his daddy. And I know they feelings hurt. Because now they got to listen to people that look like them, blame them for something that they know they did not bring on to themselves. And these same people know that this is about preservation of what the league used to look like at quarterback position. They desperate. They's going to take the whole year to figure out how to make sure it don't happen next year when they not even stopping to think about, oh, we could get in trouble and get exposed for collusion. They didn't even stop to think, they didn't even think they was going to get exposed. That came out of the heavens. So now they're going to go and try to figure out how to keep Shedeur from starting because the goal is still the same. I can't let him start. So 40-year-old Flacco got to be healthy. Kenny Pickett got to stay healthy. And they got to look better than Shedeur in camp, so I got to reduce his reps. So they're going to still be playing with Shedeur. And what did Bubba Dub say? We going to burn it down. You should hear that message in God's voice because that's essentially what was already happening. And they're going to run it back again, and it's going to be worse. My question was, do y'all believe that they're going to give him a fair chance? I don't think so. That's a lot for a 22-year-old or a 23-year-old. Exactly. He let them know he was good raw. Yep, he showed it. He showed it. And they still drafted him in the first round. See, it didn't hurt nobody else. That's how you know this was a cockamamie story. This was a plot. They was trying to cover up for what they were really trying to do. And it's going to come out. Even with all of the talking heads that want to be comfortable at the Super Bowl, they can't control social media. So it's going to get out. One thing about reporters, they will ask you a question and Diboll is already getting the questions. And he already freezing up. That he dodging questions. See, the media going in on them now. Oh, he's dodging questions. They ain't even talking about Shedeur no more. They talking about them interviews that they claim were the reason they pushed him down to the 5th round, and they don't have no evidence of nothing they said, and it was all subjective, which is prejudicial and biased. So the league looking real racist right now. That's what came out of the draft. Oh, y'all racist and y'all not even about talent. That's what came out of it. And Shedeur still got drafted. A.J. Brown, 1,000-yard wide receiver, and Henry, 1,000-yard running back, played out of college for the Titans at the same time. Coach Verbal, the coach at the time. Oh, okay. Just got hired as the NFL coach. These teams are not trying to win. Right. That's what comes out of it. The draft is not about talent. The teams are not built to win. And it's a plantation. That's the 3 things that came out of it. And I'm sure some more. Trump threw them a curveball. Yep, Trump threw them a curveball and they had to switch it up. They had to switch it up. He gonna work hard, earn his keep. Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe Andrew Berry said that. I swear. If he show up in the news in the next couple of weeks randomly, that's karma, whatever it is. Whatever it is. If I don't know about it, y'all come tell me about it. It's karma, and we're gonna go live and talk about it. Because he needs to be dealt one. Skip Bayless and Tom Brady did it. Yeah, it looks like Skip Bayless went in on Tom Brady, said that Tom Brady tried to sabotage Shedeur's career because if anybody should have drafted him, it was him. Discrimination at its finest. Absolutely. They made all that crap up. Yep, just to do what they did. Fabrication, cover their butts because they wanted them 2 white QBs up there and they didn't want 3 black ones to go into the league high in the first round because they would likely be starters. Starters don't generally come out of the second round unless somebody got hurt, but Will Levis did, and that did not work out. See how they bend the rules for them. That's what I told y'all. The black players have rules. The white players have privileges. And these old black players that's not saying, they know that. They just don't want to admit it. Well, why you didn't say nothing if that's what it was like when you was there? They don't want to talk about it. They probably traumatized. Because if this is what we're seeing, I can't imagine what's really happening. I can imagine what's really happening behind closed doors if this is what we saw. And it took God to pull back the curtain. Hell no. We ain't letting this go. No. Coach Prime, y'all cool. Y'all can go ahead on. But we're going to be right here. I have scheduled these shows for a reason because they are being planned out. And if I don't talk about it today, it's rolling out to tomorrow's agenda. I know how to schedule a meeting. Yep, Tomlin. Yep, Tomlin got to go too. They not doing what needs to be done. See, if God opened the door for you, you're supposed to do his bit, not yours. And you trying to preserve your job. You've been there 17 years. They was going to fire you anyway. You want to stay there with them, telling you don't have no autonomy, putting your nose in it like you a pit bull for bringing in Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. And now instead of 2 black QBs, you don't have no anonymity and you got 2 white ones. What you think going to happen? They're going to collude against you. That's what they're going to do. Aaron Rodgers going to get him fired. They say that's why Aaron Rodgers was forced there. Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season and they trying to force him out. But you know what? After the way he let Shedeur be pushed down, he deserves to be fired. He don't have no courage, just like Isaac Newsom had courage. Isaac Newsom did what needed to be done. Mike Tomlin, your time is up. You might as well should have just drafted Shedeur and been happy with being let go because they're going to let you go anyway. So when you damned if you do and you damned if you don't, you might as well do what's right. You should have protected it. That's why Skip Bayless went in on Tom Brady. This ain't just about Shedeur playing football. This is about protecting him from the humiliation that they orchestrated against him, and they should have not all been in on it. And now they want to wiggle away from collusion. They so damn. That's their crime of choice. Collusion. That's their crime of choice. It's not new, and it's definitely not new with black QBs. 2 legendary episodes. Shedeur discusses it. Yep, I saw it. Boomer like Trump, they all run their mouths too much. So now you know that they colluded. What? I was like, did this man sit up here and tell us that they colluded? Because people started saying, so it wasn't about the interviews like y'all said. That's why I said the unexpected, unintended consequences. Boomer Esiason sat up there and told the world, oh, it wasn't the interviews. It's because they took him off the board. And I'm glad they did. I'm like, do you know what you just said? When stuff like that happened, I'm like, that's God. I'm like, because that's crazy. I'm like, did you really just tell us they colluded, which was in direct contradiction to he failed his interviews? But you don't have no proof of that. But we got proof that you colluded. All they had to do, they didn't want you to do in their league at the combine, was say, hey, you know what? We appreciate it, but we're going to move for him. That's all they had to do. But they want to use him, and they got exposed in the process of exploiting him. Stop playing with God's favorite. Shedeur said it. They trying to play God. And it's clearly they don't believe in God. They think they are God. That's what they think. Well, they done found out different. Now they arguing behind the scenes. See, the media that was in on it is still holding up it was not racist. It wasn't collusion. It was his interviews. Even though Boomer Esiason told us what it was, they want us to unhear and unsee Boomer Esiason sticking his check out, bragging, which worked against them. So that the media is controlled by the NFL to a certain degree. But the regular, like the old print media, they own it. They talking about, well, Diabol is dodging questions about Shedeur's interviews now. You know why? Because they went and printed everything he said. And now they got to go back and get proof. So now they're going in at the NFL. This is how confusion is beginning to begin. When a lot of people commit a crime together, somebody gonna tell, I said that. And then the next day, the prank happened, which pulled back the curtain on what they was really doing, trying to humiliate him. And ain't nobody gonna let it go. I don't care who apologizes. It was an insider on where the prank came from, and it was not a coincidence. It was the team that his daddy played for. So they could miss me with they did it to other people too. And Shannon Sharp ought to be ashamed of himself. But you know what? He showed us who he is, right? So the whole experience is sickening, right? I'm not traumatizing myself next year because I was upset. I was on this podcast live. It's a 4-hour video, and they were like, "Are you okay?" I'm okay. I was okay, but it had to be said because I instantly realized y'all tore Shedeur down the whole damn time. So you could justify taking a lesser talented Jackson Dart. That's what you did. You was never going to take Shedeur. That's exactly what you did. You know how evil that is? To tear down an innocent person so you could cover your butt so you don't get fired because you want somebody else who not good at the job? If y'all want to run the Mickey Mouse Club, so be it. But hey, don't drag down our people. Don't do that. And that's what they're doing because they don't value or respect them. They don't care about Shedeur's talent. They don't care that he's the best quarterback out there because they still believe that white brains are more superior to black ones, even Shedeur's. And we still talking about it because he want to play. So that's what you do with family. Just like Travis, he want to be with that girl. She bought him a rose gold Rolex watch and gave it to him in front of everybody on camera. I was like, why? We don't talk about it no more. We just let it go. But we got to keep an eye on Shedeur. Travis going to be fine. That's what the Jaguars, I think, was trying to tell him. We got you. I was like, what is going on? I was like, okay, something finna happen and they know something I don't. So I'm going to just let it go. I felt like they was telling Travis, when she leave you, we going to be right here. I swear. If you go watch the video, Travis was like, I'm good. I was like, they know something. Remember, they did all kind of background checks. But see, even if they had found out something about Travis, they weren't going to let him know because it wouldn't have benefited them if he didn't want to play ball no more. He was too distraught. They don't want to ruin who he is. So they might actually know something because that was crazy. I was like, do they know something? But they might. They even asked, was she going to be a problem? They were like, he leaned in. He told me, we got you. Not that we acquired you, but we we got you. I was like, I think they mean they his support system. Then I noticed how much they like him and welcomed him in the office, and he was dancing. And I was like, okay, yeah, he gonna need them. That's exactly what it was. So they know something, or they suspect something. It said, did they fire the Atlanta DC yet? Not to my knowledge. They gonna try not to because they care about their feelings. They don't care about ours. So, and that's not a simple thing because when you have a data, see, you have cybersecurity insurance. There's federal compliance laws that you have to deal with the government. Now, Trump already called them stupid, so I don't know if he's gonna let them breeze through it. Maybe if his friend get to buy the team, he'll let him make it. Because it would surprise me if it go down to that. Because that's how they get down. Don't believe Trump. He is behind all of this. No, he was not trolling. I'm gonna tell you how I know Trump wasn't trolling. Now, y'all know Trump care about the money. Everybody know that. What he was saying made sense. When he said he has phenomenal genes, I was like, here we go. And what he was saying is Shedeur is valuable. Okay. His father is a legend. He was good in college. He was good in the NFL. That's what he's saying. Shedeur has his genes. Coach Prime made a gaggle of money for the NFL. So therefore, Shedeur will do it too. Are you stupid for passing up billions for mediocrity and a QB that nobody knows because you want to do your next door neighbor down the street a favor? It's not lost on me that Jackson Dart went to Ole Miss. Can somebody look up what Eli Manning went to school? And Cooper Manning too? I think it's Ole Miss. You see how that worked? And the Manning families, the connection with the Giants. That's how I knew they weren't going to never draft Shedeur because they thought it's possible that the grandson was coming out next year, but it looked like he's staying. So they drafted Dart, but they did because they didn't want to commit to anybody long term because they are expendable and really placeholders for him. This family, matter of fact, Jackson Dart got a call from one of the Manning brothers right after he got drafted. This is not a coincidence. They were never going to draft Shedeur, but they had to justify passing on the best QB for a mediocre one. So Shedeur was collateral damage. So when Coach Prime said let it go, no. Y'all can let it go. Do what you got to do. We respect you. But this is about Black people being scapegoated, expendable, humiliated, thought less, have the lesser brains. I'm not letting none of that go. You don't let nothing like that go at all. And the man lost $50 million. Somebody got to pay. And we need to know what happens in Atlanta because they need to fire that man. If they wanted to punish Shedeur for his father making a statement, then they need to punish the father for their son breaching data for the NFL. See, they don't want to keep it even. He gets the special privileges and the benefit of the doubt, but Shedeur gets nailed to the wall and pushed down to the 5th round, and they picked his pocket for $50 million. Because they think less of Black people. And that suit, that $1 billion settlement proves it. And the fact that they said they was going to stop Race Norman and then decided to fight the people on paying them the money, which means they have no remorse for thinking and telling people and treating people this way, that we are less than with cognitive functioning over them. Come on, get the hell out of here. We're not letting that go. Somebody got to pay. Somebody got to pay. So that's what it is. Somebody got to pay, and ain't nobody paid yet. So that's how it goes. Until you stop doing what you're doing and make it. So you can stop doing what you're doing because the draft is over. But you ain't made this right. And we all heard Andrew Berry's disgusting speech telling Shedeur to earn his keep. Shedeur ain't asked none of them for nothing. He's a hard worker. What you saying? He lazy? I wonder where that come from. You see what I'm saying? They trying to treat Shedeur like he not already a star. They mad because he uses the term legendary, and they so mad that they forgot the fact that he could be manifesting. And when he used legendary too, he wants to be like his dad. And on draft day, he was dressed like the modern version outfit of what his dad had on. They tried to ruin his celebration, but he went to his party anyway. What the NFL did to Shedeur Sanders is disgusting. It was discriminatory. It was racist. And I hope external forces come down on them so hard that there's nothing left. You know what they do is disgusting if they're paying $1 billion settlements. And you know they evil if they fighting that, and they was wrong for that. And they employ majority black men, majority of black men on their payrolls for these teams. And they got the audacity to be out here saying that their brains have a lesser cognitive function. So if you get a concussion, ain't no point in me paying you, but I'ma happily award the white players. We're not letting that go, bro. And you tried to fight the settlement. No, we're not. You need to be exposed for that. Everybody needs to know that you racist like that. And you don't think any highly of your people at all that are black, that you employ. You only exploiting them like you exploited Shedeur. You didn't want Shedeur, but you wanted him for your ratings. So you don't respect black NFL players, but you want them to make you dollars. So you don't care if black people don't come to the games and don't tune in. It's really the white people you want them to labor for. Y'all got to get the hell on with your plantation fantasies. We are not the same people. We are not going to let that happen. And we are not going to let this go. Y'all picked that young man's pocket for $50 million out of pure evil. We are not letting that go. The Sanders family can move on and enjoy themselves. We're going to be right here. Hey, good people. Hey, Gracie. He went back to his same self today, Jerry. He went back to his same person today. He was upset because Jalen Hurts and them wasn't. I didn't even get into that. I was like, I saw Saquon with it, but I'm not surprised. So you know, he back to who he was. He back to who he was. That's why I say all of that was God opening the door for Shedeur. He kicked that door in. Oh, you gonna draft him, whether you want to or not. You ain't got no choice now because the curtain is pulled back. That's why I say we're gonna see what they do in Cleveland. Bubba Dub was right. God gonna take a match to Cleveland if they do Shedeur dirty. That's why I asked y'all, do y'all really think that they are going to give him a fair chance? I don't. That welcome call, that was not very welcoming. That's more of the same. You're entitled. So I want you to come in. We're not promising nothing to you. We didn't want to draft you. So I'm going to need you to earn your keep. Andrew Berry, you know what? I hope I don't run into you at Target because we're going to have a long conversation. In fact, I probably would not run into him at Target. Not right now. Costco. Costco, because I just want to talk to you. Understand that. Shedeur don't have that poor man's mentality. Right. See, they want the players to come in and do whatever. Like the young man said the pre-draft event. Oh, I just want to do whatever they tell me. I'm like, shut the hell up. They scared of Shedeur. They know they're going to be exposed if they aren't good coaches. They know they're going to be exposed if they're not trying to win. I guess he's the face of the truth that they are afraid of because they feel like maybe Jackson Dart will come in and when he realized they don't want to win, he don't care. He just wanted the check, which is why they gave it to him. He know he not better than Shedeur. When I saw his family celebrating, I knew exactly what time it was. Of course, they were surprised. They were happy that they got that money. That's all they care about. Because they think it sets them apart from us. But see, Shedeur is wealthy. That's why they saying he entitled and he think he better than them because that's what they do. But they never called those overgrown children adults who made those so-called prank calls. But I'm not letting it go. I'm not letting go of the fact that you are insider and you heard some things. I don't give a damn who else it happened to. Were they pranked by insiders on camera doing the draft live when they were being humiliated? See, everything got to line up and it doesn't. They want to dismiss it. Nope. All about race. Yeah, it is. And for people that say it's not, don't trust them. I've been unfollowing people all day. It is. People say that all the time. Why does it have to be about race? Because it's the United States of America. Where do you think we living at? That's what it was founded on. When they say Christopher Columbus discovered America, that was racist because the Native Americans was right here first. Apparently, so were the Chinese and black people, but nobody talks about it because it doesn't benefit their narrative. Watch Pittsburgh gonna be the last team in the division in season coming up. Yep. And they're gonna fire Mike Tomlin. And then in New York, it's gonna now, you know what? We're gonna be watching these games live. And we're gonna be looking for outcomes. We're gonna talk about it before the game. Okay, this is what we're looking for. If we watch Tennessee one time, we're gonna be looking to make sure if Cam start, if they're not making sure they're not having him sacked by his O-line, Jaden Daniels. That's why I follow the QBs. Because of the way that they do them dirty. They do them the worst. The rest of the guys, they don't care about that. They just labor. That's how they see them as. They just labor, but you trying to think for me. I can't have that. So they do them dirty. So we need to, well, that's what I do. I watch. But Cleveland is being watched. And I wonder, do y'all think Cleveland know that they being watched? I don't think so. Because that stupid call he made, he didn't know that that was being recorded. See, these older guys don't understand how social media work. That prank call was caught on Bucky's channel and went viral from there. And then them yo-yos posted it, I heard on TikTok. I never saw it on TikTok, but I sure saw it on CNN and at Bucky's channel and everywhere else. Sweet Pea, you're right. They love to hear the downtrodden struggle. Yeah, that's what they want. I was watching all these draft stories they was putting out and about different people. Now, unfortunately, a young man lost his mom. You know, that's not one of those that they talking about. But they hopped on, you know, the story, put the mic in his face, and his mom died an hour after he got drafted. She was on life support. She had health issues. And it looked like to me, we talked about it here, that she was just hanging on until he got to the league. But they kept wanting to talk about it. They did the same thing to Brendan Rice, Jerry Rice's son. And that's another thing. Jerry Rice's son was supposed to go third. Shiloh got snubbed too. I don't know if y'all know that or not. Shiloh got snubbed. Jimmy Horn Jr. should have been drafted higher because Steve Smith Sr. had Jimmy ranked the 10th best wide receiver in the draft. CU should be pissed at the NFL because they tried to hurt the CU program. They pushed Shedeur down. Yes, they capitalized off of the ratings. But when they pushed Shedeur down, they held down everybody else from CU. That's why when Shedeur got drafted, the floodgates opened. That's how you know it was orchestrated. If Shedeur's so bad, all of his wide receivers should have been drafted before him because they were all drafted. Look how good it looked for CU at the end. They held down the program. I even read it. This isn't so good for CU's program. I didn't hear anybody say that Dylan Gabriel being drafted number 94 to Cleveland didn't look good for Oregon. But CU, they said it. The recruiting program, this was all orchestrated. The prank pulled back the curtain and spoiled the plot. And they had to draft him. And Trump threw him for a loop. They did not expect that. And now he back to who he was before. And Boomer Esiason helped to further the collusion by bragging that that's what they did. Now, that's just stupid. Just like Trump said. Trump was right. They were stupid. Mike Tomlin looked guilty. Yep. Even his statement, the way it came out. Well, there were these phone calls. So now we know there were phone calls. Somebody was running around with narratives being defamatory. It's not narratives. It's defamation. See, they don't want to use the proper language. Running around defaming a draft prospect. I wondered why the media why the NFL allowed the media to defame Shedeur. I did. I wondered why. I wondered why the NFL was so harsh on him. Oh yeah, he not going to number 21 because they had already decided. When I posted 2 weeks ago, I asked the question: is there a brewing plot to embarrass Shedeur Sanders? That was 2 weeks ago because I picked up on it. I picked up on some of the things that they were saying and doing. It was becoming, oh, like week 1, we're going to say he fell here. Week 2, he going to fall there. That's why they pushed him down to number 21. And that, to me, is why when Mike Tomlin did not take Shedeur Sanders as he was expected to do. 2 picks later, the Giants traded back in and got Jackson Dart. I was like, so why you didn't draft him at any point? Why did it have to be right after Shedeur Sanders? And I told y'all, Emmanuel Acho was antagonizing Deion Sanders Jr. It's documented in a post on Threads, asking him, so is Jackson Dart QB2? He meant second QB in the draft because they had already decided what they were doing. The final hours of the draft, final days of the draft, was leaning on Pittsburgh, trying to force Mike Tomlin to not take him, trying to force Aaron Rodgers to commit to Pittsburgh, which means if Aaron Rodgers committed, they thought he was QB1 in their minds, which meant when Mike Tomlin takes Shedeur, he's QB2. But see, they never really knew what was going to happen. Just because you tell Mike Tomlin to take Shedeur and make him QB2, I don't exactly know when it's going to happen. I think it's the 21st pick, but Aaron Rodgers had not committed. And Aaron Rodgers was waiting on whoever was going to be the QB in the draft before he decided. So it was all resting on Mike Tomlin. And then what did he say? Well, there was these phone calls, and we had to listen to these phone calls. They worked him and them. It was already said. The organization didn't want Shedeur, only Mike Tomlin. So they gave, just like they did in Atlanta, they gave Mike Tomlin the power to choose Shedeur, and he did not. Mike Tomlin, Andrew Berry could have took him too, and they worked him publicly. I told y'all, Mike Tomlin and Andrew Berry were the only 2 NFL personnel with decision-making abilities that were publicly told what to do. Mike Tomlin was advised to get Shedeur Sanders and make him QB2 behind Aaron Rodgers. This plot had already been put in place. They did not know if Mike Tomlin was going to conform. So what they did was came with them phone calls that Mike Tomlin couldn't ignore in front of his bosses. See, you can tell Mike Tomlin what you want. That's hearsay between you and Mike Tomlin. But if I call you with your owner and your bosses in the green room and I'm telling you these things, how you going to ignore that in front of them? He should have known if they forcing me to do something like this, they going to fire me. So, yeah, I'm going to get it. Ozzie Newsome. But he didn't have the courage. He worried about his job. He not going to keep that job. They sent Aaron Rodgers your way and forced him on you and forced 2 black quarterbacks basically out of there. Actually, they were shocked that Justin Fields escaped, and that's what I called it. I am on the record saying Justin Fields escaped from Pittsburgh. They just knew that Dan Orlovsky guy, he just knew Justin Fields was going to be QB2 behind Aaron Rodgers. When Justin Fields got up out of there, he was like, he did it. He made the face. He was like, what? That's what they wanted. They gave Justin Fields a hard time in Chicago. And in my opinion, I like Mike Tomlin because I feel like he rescued him and Russell Wilson from the abuse that they were taking. Russ because of the collusion case and Justin Fields because Chicago is crazy. Now they trying to change Caleb Williams. They trying to say that these black elite QBs coming out of college are 1, not ready to start, and 2, aren't good. What did I say to the guy that had posted this anonymous assistant coach that said about Shedeur? And to be honest, he's just not that good. That's a lie. They're better than the guys that they want. And they can't do nothing about it. So they gotta tear them down. And I don't know who they expect to believe it, because I believe what my eyes see, not what the hell you say. I don't want to be comfortable at the Super Bowl. I probably ain't gonna never go. Definitely not now. Hell, maybe it should do a go, but I doubt it because I'm gonna have to pay, and not doing it. Not doing it. I can't get past that NFL draft and what came out of it. The racism, the pervasive racism and collusion of just black quarterbacks. No, I'm not doing that. You targeting our guys. Absolutely not. I'm not like the people that want to hang out with you. I want my people to be treated fairly. Or next you're going to be after me. So hell no. And that's what those people who want to go to the Super Bowl and be comfortable don't understand. If Justin Fields don't show up for the Jets, they are going to trade for Shedeur. I don't want that. Because if y'all notice, all they doing is swapping black quarterback for black quarterback. No. And Justin Fields should not be on the clock because Daniel Jones is not on the clock. We are not accepting no Jim Crow. If Daniel Jones had 5 years, then that's how many that Justin Fields get. We are not buying into Jim Crow and repeating that stupidity. No. I'm with you on the Raiders. They pissed us off. Yeah, let me tell you something. Remember, y'all heard me say, we are on here for 2 hours and 52 minutes. Remember, y'all heard me say, I was upset with the Raiders like they had cheated on me because I heard they was out here trying to get Matthew Stafford, right? And afterwards, what happened? Okay, just like Russell had no reason to leave Pittsburgh and was forced out of Pittsburgh, even though Pittsburgh said they wanted to keep him. When Geno Smith was sent to the Raiders, I knew that was instantly to block Shedeur from QB1. I knew it because I had already done the chart and I could see where everybody was. And it had already been pointed out on social media in somebody's post that they just swapping Deshaun Watson for another black quarterback. So where Shedeur goes, where Cam Ward goes, and Jalen Milroe goes matters. And it's true. Cam Ward is the only game because Tennessee didn't have a black quarterback, but let's see if he starts. Somebody said yesterday, Kiel, or somebody else said, as long as Will Levis is still on that roster, he is not safe. They benched Kirk Cousins, and they didn't announce it. I mean, they benched Michael Penix Jr., and they didn't announce it till the season started. So we could go all through the summer, and on game 1, Will Levis could start. Or Cam Ward could get sacked once, or throw a pick, or not score, and that's it. Oh, we can't trust it. People like to say they don't trust rookie quarterbacks. It's funny you don't trust rookie quarterbacks now that most of the rookie quarterbacks that start are black. That's when you don't trust them. I mean, this is just madness all the way around. And it's just never ending and it's pervasive. And it's obvious. That's the thing. It's obvious. It's not even a secret anymore. It wasn't already a secret to the insiders. We're the outsiders and now we know. So what's next? And that's what remains to be seen. All right, y'all, I'm going to get out of here. This was awesome. This was awesome. This was awesome. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for my new subs. Thank you, friends and family. We will be back tomorrow at the same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The show is already scheduled. If you see the thumbnail, which is the same, Shedeur, click on notify me so you'll get the notification when I'm live. All right, y'all, I'm going to get out of here and see y'all tomorrow. I look forward to it. Thank y'all so much. Thanks for watching What She Said.